everything feels so abstract. Yeah, it's complicated. What you say, the way you act, well, it makes me so confused. I don't know what to do anymore. Can't you just make up your mind? My heart drops when you play around. How can you be up when I'm down? Don't wanna think about it right now. Maybe you just wanna be friends, but there's a fight when we are talking. Maybe you just wanna pretend, but I can read between the lines. Even if I can't deny that all the things you said are hurting, still wanna be with you. I think you want it too. 'Cause baby, I don't wanna be. Baby, I don't wanna be. No, baby, I don't wanna be. Baby, I don't wanna be. How it hurts to see you smile, like a dagger hit me. She just seems so juvenile. I just want it to be me. I wanna set your world on fire. Oh, you're so sure I'll stick around. Oh, my heart drops when you play around. How can you be up when I'm down? Don't wanna think about it right now. Maybe you just wanna be friends, but there's a fight when we are talking. Maybe you just wanna pretend, but I can read between the lines. Even if I can't deny that all the things you said are hurting, still wanna be with you. I think you want it too. 'Cause baby, I don't wanna be. Baby, I don't wanna be. Oh, even if I can't deny that all the things you said are hurting, still wanna be with you. I think you want it too. 'Cause baby, I don't wanna be. No, baby, I don't wanna be. No, baby, I don't wanna be. Baby, I don't wanna be.
I see something, it's coming up on the horizon. Oh, let me clear my head and get rid of the distractions. Oh, I was down when I saw you in the clouds. Out of phase, filled with doubt. I was drifting in and out, levitate, fade away. I had left full time and space, but you just caught my eye. Hey, nah, 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 nah. Please won't you come over? Let me get to know ya. Hey, nah, 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 nah. Delve into emotion, leave us in this moment. Let your mind be free. Stop holding back, 'cause you can fight it. Oh, I don't know your name, but something in me has ignited. Oh, I was down when I saw you in the clouds. Out of phase, filled with doubt. I was drifting in and out, levitate, fade away. I had left full time and space, but you just caught my eye. Hey, nah, 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 nah. Please won't you come over? Let me get to know ya. Hey, nah, 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 nah. Delve into emotion, leave us in this moment. You look at me like I'm crazy. When I shut my feelings down, you look at me like I'm different. Still you stay cause you feel something real. Get so lost in my moments. Doesn't mean I don't need you. I fell in love with your colors. They kinda tell me what I'm thinking. I fell in love with the way we are and the way we lose it. There's something different about us, and the reason why we stay. We fly around like
We finally made it here after weeks of amazing competition. This is it, the championship weekend, the playoff weekend for Royale Masters. It's going to be a great one. Hello and welcome. I'm Rich Slayton. That's Eric Benamou to talk you through the great action. We are down to the final 8 players. A lot of money, $10,000 on the line this weekend. And Eric, it's already been great, but this weekend we have some of the top players in the world, no joke about that, going head-to-head for this prize pool.
I mean, if you're excited about World Finals, then you're excited about this. This is the same group of players that will be at World Finals, that will be competing. We'll probably see repeat matchups. And, I mean, I couldn't wait any longer for this weekend. I had a ton of fun casting you with last weekend. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it. But this is where the real fun begins. Elimination matches, the top players from the game. You're going to see the best gameplay. These players are not just playing for 10,000. They are in World Finals mode. You will see them at their best level, right?
Yeah, of course we are. And how did we get here? Well, we've gone through weeks upon weeks of competition where we had 3 open weekends with major prize pools, 2 days each, with Swiss brackets going into a single elimination bracket. And of course, we got players from each one of those on into our world champion, or to our final championship. And then, of course, we had a last chance qualifier as well that brings you all to right here to this weekend, our playoffs. Today and tomorrow, 2 days of competition. It's 8 players, and now the single elimination is over. We're down to double elimination. So today, you're going to see all the winners bracket matches. No eliminations today. We're going to go through and get our winners bracket champion. And then tomorrow, we come back for an elimination gauntlet. Every single match tomorrow will be lose and you're binned and you're out, win and you stay in for a chance at that $5,000 grand prize. We'll see the prize pool here in just a couple of moments. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, of course. $25,000 total here for the Royale Masters. The first 3 weekends, we had $5,000 each weekend, but now we're down to the top 8. Everyone here is in the prize pool, at least $100 to your 8th place player, but every single time you move forward, that gives you a whole lot more. And of course, our champion taking home $5,000. Not too bad, Eric, for a fun weekend of Clash Royale.
I mean, if I had the talent, I would be here. Unfortunately, I don't have the talent, so I'm on this side of the booth with you. But like you said, I mean, everyone here is making money no matter what. You made it this far, and odds are probably you already made money before even making it here in those first 3 weekends as well, right? So this is just an added bonus to that. You get the top-notch practice, but look, that first place spot, $5,000 in a weekend, is no joke.
It's no joke at all. Let's take a look at the matches that we're having today. Of course, we are going through a double elimination bracket, and we kick things off with some phenomenal matchups. Our first matchup of the day will be a man that you've said is the best ladder player in history, and at least definitely one of top 2. We'll debate that in a minute. Werro going up against Goku. Should be a banger of a matchup. Then you have Ukraine's top player, maybe, and Legolas going up against your dark horse pick, Eric, for CRL World Finals out of the Brazilian Wallace. Lucas, the number 2 ranked player on the planet, up against Magma, the American, and then another guy for the Stars and Stripes, Ian, who you saw compete in the LCQ, going up against the world number 1 player, the Prince of Egypt himself, Mohammed Light. And of course, those are just a few of the, I believe we're doing 7 matches today with great competition, and we might get, look at those bottom 2 matches there, Eric, we might get Lucas versus Mohammed Light
in the second round. Like, it's not even like you're gonna have to wait all day. Usually we see these 2 people fight it out at the finals of things. No, they're gonna be probably playing in that second round if I had to pick. And then on the other side, it's not like it's just that one match, right? If Werro, you know, really goes through and plays at his level, and then Wallace does as well, you're gonna have a Werro, Wallace, and Lucas Mo second round, which is absolutely crazy.
Absolutely wild. And one thing that you might want to keep an eye on, we haven't seen any of them yet, but we are now playing with champions available. So keep an eye out for that one. So far looking like standard Hog EQ here for Werro on the top. Goku maybe going graveyard here on the bottom, but so far, oh, that lightning, and that right there tells you that Werro is ready for champions because this isn't Hog EQ, this is Hog Lightning. And Eric, why is that lightning in this deck?
There's this card that's in the game that it could also go invisible type of thing, and I think it's the Archer Queen who does a ton of damage to your tower. So now you kind of are forced to run lightning no matter what. This witch is hard stuck on that cannon, and it's just you're gonna see so much lightning come in today. I highly doubt you don't see it once per set on every single player's deck pool.
Keep in mind that this version of Duels is the special Royale Masters version, meaning that for Duels this time around, you are allowed to play any decks that you lose with. You are not allowed to play cards that you win with. So unlike standard Duels where you have to bring 3 separate decks throughout the best of 3, in this case, if you win match 1, game 1, you lose those 8 cards. But if you lose game 1, those 8 cards are still on the table. So that game back and forth will be quite compelling. And as we go into double elixir time, Eric, so far no one has taken a commanding lead in this matchup.
No, and I think no one has done their actual pushing. You're gonna see the weird thing with this is for the Hog deck, it's not just about chip because you can't cycle lightning like you can earthquake. So you actually do need the Hog to hit, and I think that's going to be a problem late game for Werro here. For those watching, Filippo is Werro if you don't know that yet. So this brings us a little bit back to like the 2017-2018 era of Clash, where you did play the Hogs with those heavy decks. See people with the Hog Rocket, the Hog Lightning, but it's a very different play style to what I guess most people that watch Clash Royale now are used to. You're gonna see Werro is not gonna take a big lead early on like you would generally see. You're just gonna see him slowly chip away and hold on more than anything, and maybe win off a late lightning.
And that's some nice lightning value there to drop that cannon carton back, take that knight way down, get tower damage as well. So this is very interesting. This is going to be, we talked about some of the shifts meta-wise, Eric, and this one might be, Hog EQ has been so central to both the ladder and competitive meta, and lightning suddenly being into the mix for it, that's a massive, it might seem small, but it's a major shift.
It's a huge shift in the game, and it's a shift not only in this deck, but in how heavy the decks are going to be. We saw Cycle take over the game for a very long time, and you are going to be forced out of that cycle because Cycle does not deal well with these champions, whether it is the dash coming in or the double graveyard decks or even the Archer Queen. Really, once it goes invisible, you're basically done as far as all your squishy troops, right? In that invisibility part where her attack speed is so quickly, it can take out all your cycle cards and then still be full health. So we're gonna have to see a shift into a little heavier deck, a little heavier on the spells as well, and it's a big deal, like you said.
Champions are available. Of course, we're seeing no champions played in this first game, which was one of the interesting questions.
Yeah.
You can't win with a champion and then run that one back. But I don't know how much we're going to see of the Golden Knight and the Skeleton King, although the Golden Knight is pretty central with that minor control cycle deck that's been around for a little while in grand challenges. But so far, we are getting one very important question answered, is are we going to see champions in every single game? And the answer clearly is no.
Yeah, that answer is no so far, and I would highly doubt it. Like you said, I think every player will have their choice of 1, maybe 2, but the only really viable champion at a competitive level, in my opinion, is the Archer Queen. There is too much unpredictability still with the Golden Knight. You never know if he's actually going to dash onto tower, if he's going to end up on your side, what is going to happen. And I think until people figure out exactly the best way to play him, we're not going to see that much of him. I think it's going to be mainly focused on Archer Queen, winning with your Archer Queen deck, and then winning with one other deck.
So yeah, we do see Malamber level 1 in the Twitch chat saying Golden Knight is OP. And that's an interesting question, right? Golden Knight is sometimes OP, and sometimes Golden Knight is a complete maniac, just off doing whatever he wants. So it's an interesting card, one of those ones that's the new mechanics can be somewhat hard to predict at certain times, except for the Archer Queen's invisibility, which seems to be the one that's pretty well nailed down. But here we go, game number 1. Werro going with the Hog Lightning, and this is curious, right? We're seeing a very different version of Hog. Of course, remember now Werro cannot play any of the cards from that deck, but Goku does have the entire deck pool available to him with this special Royale Masters version of dual mode. But we did see a big shift. I was watching last night, I was rewatching the CRL 2018 World Finals match between Little Chen and Javi Catorce, where Little Chen debuted the Little Chen deck, and Javi Catorce was playing Hog Lumberjack with a bunch of other crazy stuff. So, you know, we might be seeing some variations that kind of are resurrected in this new meta.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the great thing about champions, right? I understand for if you're competing at the World Finals and everything, you have your doubts, and here we see... I mean, we just saw that. I'm very surprised. I couldn't even get my words out, that this is the first champion we see today, right? And activating King Tower. And like you said, you press that button and then you just pray it works out. And that's the way I see it.
And that's a nice King Tower activation there. Of course, if anyone is going to play Golden Knight in bridge spam, Werro, who is one of the all-time greatest, maybe the greatest bridge spam player of all time, I know you've said that a few times, certainly feels like the guy to do it.
Yeah, he is. I think within everyone, it's really clear that, you know, at least ladder level, there is no one better than him in the history of Clash when it comes to bridge spam. To finish with bridge spam consistently top 5 for over a year is ridiculous. You have to have an understanding like no other. And on top of that, you have to add the factor that every single person that plays against you knows you're running bridge spam, right? It's ladder. So they're going to play according to that, and to still be able to do it, it's incredible. So yeah, if there's someone that's gonna run it, it's definitely him. So I want to see how it works out, because it works also against Goku in a sense where, like, he could think that he's gonna activate the King Tower, or that he's gonna sway it here or there, and then it doesn't work out like that, and half his tower is gone, right? So you have to be very careful.
I say Dark Prince nicely countering, picking up that dash from the Golden Knight all on his own. Good fireball value here though for Goku as we go into our final minute of regulation. The lead right now by a hair for the player out of Mexico, 26-46 to 26-32. But Goku definitely has a lot of good answers here, and we have not seen what Werro's doing with that last card. I'm expecting Ram Rider here, but you know, we also don't see a big spell. So this is a kind of a curious build out of the bridge spam player.
Yeah, and that's a big connection onto tower. Musketeer goes down, Miner has no health, and that's where the Golden Knight is awesome, right? That it seemed like he was doing a similar kite to the original one with the Dark Prince, where it didn't go to tower at all, but with just one simple placement differential is the difference between what happened there and the first push. Elite Barbarians is actually the last card, so a very odd deck.
And our co-caster, Andrew Guy, in the Twitch chat called it out way before it even hit. E-Barbs is that last card there, so nice work, Andrew. Hope you're enjoying. I think it's Costa Rica that he's in right now. Colombia. Hope you're enjoying it. Yeah, Andrew's, I don't know if you know this, he's kind of a movie star. And so, yeah, E-Barbs is the deck. And so this is interesting. We're seeing a sort of no-win condition, but in this case, it's all because of that chaining dash. It's almost as though the Golden Knight is the win condition.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things where you continuously play it at the bridge. You continuously, use the ability. And with one or two good hits on it, that's all you really need. You don't have to overextend on anything else. You just need to try to get him out of his cycle. You see the dash there, just taking this out. He'll have beautiful heal spirit there. Yeah. He's full health again. And
he should be back to it pretty soon, although this is the hard part, right? Is that Goku kind of knows, oh, that chain was ridiculous. The Musketeer.
It's so weird to watch, but so fun at the same time.
I'll say this,
really
I think it's the Golden Knight might not be the strongest of the three champions. It is, in my opinion, by far the most fun. Yeah, but why didn't that hit the Princess Tower?
Why did that not hit tower? Yes, exactly. And that is what I'm sure Werro thought the same thing. Why is this not on tower, right? It doesn't make a lot of sense, because it seems like the other dashes were further away from the tower than that one itself, but this could get really dangerous really quickly here.
Yeah, this is piling up pretty heavily. Mother Witch does not get healed by the heal spirit, but there's a lot on the board. Bandit gets picked up, one piggy on the left-hand side, Fireball in, Fireball on defense had to do it. Could a Miner get back around one more time? Could a Fireball get back around one more time? Goku has has to get something on offense. Spear Goblins trying to get in. Can they connect? No, the E-Wiz stops it. Miner, does he get the hit? No, he doesn't. 1686 to 1575, and there you go. Werro taking the first match in a 2-0 by 111 HP, and you roll the dice, they come up hitting a nice 7, and Werro comes out on top.
I mean, that's why he's bridge spam Werro, right? That's why he makes it happen. It looked like the match was lost. It really did. He didn't have a big spell. He was down 400 HP. And nothing was breaking through, and then you just slowly started seeing the bridge spam mind come to work, and everything was just piling on, and before you knew it, he didn't even have fireball in cycle because he had to use it defensively to get that bandit off and the barbarian off, and Werro just overwhelms him, and that was a lot of fun to watch. Maybe not to play against. Probably Goku didn't have as good of a time as we did, but those dashes were definitely fun.
It was a whole lot of fun to watch. I mean, that's, again, I'd really say that Golden Knight is the most fun of the three champions. And now we've seen our debut of champions in competitive play here at Royale Masters. Maybe some previews of some thoughts of what we might see when we get to CRO World Finals. Now remember, Werro does move on. We'll see him again today for at least one more match, maybe two, if he keeps on winning. Goku, down but not out. Let's look at the bracket and see how these guys are moving on. Werro going to our second round of the winner's bracket, where he will await the winner of Legolas versus Wallace. We'll see that here in just a moment. Goku drops down into the elimination bracket, where he'll have to run the gauntlet tomorrow to stay alive in this very, very difficult tournament. Man, and you look at that lineup there. Werro now through, and now it's going to be Legolas or Wallace. I mean, it's very possible, and no shade on Legolas here, no shade on the other six competitors, the three competitors remaining, but it could be that our next round of our winners bracket is Werro versus Wallace and Lucas versus Light, which is just bananas.
Yeah, that is a World Finals type of semifinals. Like, if you go into the World Finals bracket, there's a real shot that obviously, well, not Werro, but that these players are those people at the end, and this is going to be a preview of that. And I think the only thing I would say about the match we just saw is, if I'm Goku and I see Lightning is out, there's no reason you shouldn't be running Archer Queen. I don't care how obvious it is. There's no counter to it without Lightning. It really is that. Like, you can know I'm playing it, but what are you going to do about it, right? You can't put Lightning in because you already used it. What are you going to do? Put Rocket, and then you're going to have to cycle a Rocket onto an Archer Queen? It just doesn't make sense. To me, you have to capitalize on the champions.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hard part, right? I was going to say, like, what about Rocket? But that's the exact issue. It's two elixir, it's a -2 elixir trade, and a tough one here. So let's look at our second matchup. Legolas out of the Ukraine up against Tribe Gaming's Wallace. Legolas, of course, very talented young player. We've mentioned him many times, a friend and training partner of Igor and La Picati and Dreaming Fly. And, of course, Wallace had a great run in CRL back in 2020 and has a chance to make another great one here this year. And here we have it, the debut of the Archer Queen at Royale Masters. And let's see what Wallace can do with her.
I think he's back to the ability now as well if he wants to use it. He does snowball to, that was a very necessary snowball there. I was pretty sure after all of that, he was ready to take about 1,500 damage if he didn't actually take care of that Archer Queen in time. But I like that Wallace is going straight out of the gate with Archer Queen. If you're not running Lightning, and and I do win with it, now your Lightning deck is pretty much useless running through the rest of this duels format. You missed your opportunity. I already won with it, so I like that. I don't know if that was the specific strategy, but if it was, I think it is very smart from him.
And we have a comment in the Twitch chat from Space01001 saying, person using the cards don't matter, it's all in the cards. And, Eric, we just saw a player who's one of the top all-time ladder players in Werro, listed #2 on Royale API's list, right behind your former player in Igor. It might be hard for some players. I know we're inside the Clash Royale app. Some players maybe haven't seen competitive play, maybe don't follow top ladder. What is it? Why is it that we have a player like Igor who is able to get 5-10 times #1 on ladder, who's able to put 30 top 10 finishes in a game that for some people feels more about matchup than it does about skill, when clearly we have a guy who's able to outskill a game that feels so matchup based?
I think there's two components to this. The first one is, what range are you playing at, right? Because if you're playing at a more casual range, right, the 2, 3, 4, 5,000 trophy mark, then there is a lot of that card factor, in the sense that ladders, a lot of people out-level you, or have just a better matchup. And since you're not dedicating your time to how do I beat it and all of this, then yeah, probably the cards are the reason you lost, in the sense that it was an unwinnable matchup in your eyes. But when you're playing against people that dedicate their time to this, there is a specific strategy for every matchup, how to win against the counters. Everyone's also playing at the same level of cards. If you're new here, you can tell everything is level 11, right? So everyone's on a level playing field. You have a strategy. And on top of that, there are so many factors of, you know, elixir counting, cycle counting, all of this that they keep in mind at the same time, where you see the difference in the players. Everyone kind of knows what they're going against as soon as they see the first two cards. It's who can capitalize on it better.
And there you go. You know, that there's as they say about poker. If poker's all random, then why is the same 10 guys at the World Series of Poker final table every year? Same thing here in Clash Royale. We have guys like Wallace here, who is a CRL World finalist from last year, and of course back here again, not only for CRL World Finals December 3rd through 5th, don't miss it, but right here at Royale Masters as well. So there are levels to this game, let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's the same thing with everything. If you played at a casual level, there is always more luck, whether it's sports, you know, card games, whatever it is, and the mentality completely shifts when you're playing against the professionals. It's the same in NBA. There's a reason why LeBron is LeBron, right? It's not the shoes, and it's not that he got lucky this year. He's just better.
So here we go, Bandit in, Mega Knight behind, Archer Queen still alive, and you see Wallace running Lightning in this one. Of course, Lightning has been a part of the Ram Rider decks with Mega Knight pretty consistently, even P.E.K.K.A. Ram Rider as well, so no big surprises there, although we'll see the big question, does Legolas go Archer Queen in game number 2 now that Lightning is out? We'll see. Right now it is Wallace on the defense, but he does have the lead with 30 seconds left, 1694 to now just around 2084 HP.
Yeah, and the one thing that I am seeing out of Wallace is he's too early on the ability use. I think he's getting ahead of himself quite often. He's going to E-Wiz up high here, obviously. But here we go again. You don't want to use that ability there for 2 shots when your E-Wiz is already resetting. That ability is so valuable that if you can just time it right, that bomb tower would have been gone already, right? And your Ram Rider would have gone directly onto the tower. You need to be a lot more careful. He still won with it, but the execution wasn't perfect.
Wallace taking game number 1 by 500 HP. Nice way to shut things down. So now, keep in mind, Wallace's Lightning out of play, but also not just the Lightning. Now, this is interesting because we did see Mega Knight Lightning with the Ram Rider, which on one hand makes you go, okay, now time to pop the Archer Queen. On the other hand, I like the deck construction here because Mega Knight is out, but Fireball still available. Yeah. So, you know, normally you might go, hey, you might go pigs in the situation, but this does create some questions here on Wallace's side.
It does. It's hard. I think Wallace was, I guess, looking for an Archer Queen matchup. They're both of them using it, and that would have been a great matchup for him. You win, you have the Lightning and all of that, but now you don't know what type of Archer Queen deck is going to come at you. If he would have played an Archer Queen deck first up and then Wallace wins, he already knows the Archer Queen deck and can choose which one of his other ones is best suited for it. Now you're kind of going in blind. You don't have Lightning. And you're really, if I'm Wallace at this point, I'm constructing a deck based around the fact that I am playing against Archer Queen. Maybe you don't play a game 2, but I highly doubt that, you know, Legolas will not play that card at least once before this set is over.
And world number 1 player in the Twitch chat right now, Mohammed Light, with the comment saying matchups are still really important and competitive. Yes, and of course they are important and competitive, but Eric, What is it about matchups that are different and competitive than when you're just pressing play on ladder?
They're not random. You have, I mean, Mo, that's why, you know, Jules is by your side, right? Because he can get you a higher percentage. He can't guarantee anything. No one can guarantee anything. If someone could show up and play a random deck, but you can look for specific tendencies, specific, archetypes and all of that, set yourself up for success. And on top of it, it is what I was saying. Look, the decks you play on the casual level, you will sometimes play against a Golem P.E.K.K.A. deck out of nowhere, and there's no preparation for that. But you can play against a hard counter, which I personally have seen you play against a hard counter and win because you know how to beat that, right? So that's why I was saying it's obviously important, but there is a very different concept around it.
Yeah, and that's the big thing here is these players know who they're going up against. They do their research, prepare for those matches. And of course, with Clash Royale League World Finals not very far away, December 3rd being the first day, that's a single elimination. these players have a month to prepare for that one best of 3 to see if they make it on to day 2 and day 3. So you'll bet that they're doing their research. Now here we go. Wallace going to game number 2. Already played Archer Queen and looks like he's playing some sort of... Oh, this might be that minor deck.
Yeah, it definitely could be. And I love how Wallace is like, champions are allowed, perfect. I'm just going champions all matches. I don't care. It plays them really early on. He's not trying to hide them within the deck either, catch them by surprise. Both times he played the Archer Queen and now the Golden Knight really early on. But how are you going to defend this is what I'm curious. Those bats
Poison.
are probably going to get. Yeah.
Poison and delivery, because that's what this deck runs, right? So this is one of those decks that I feel like came up, maybe almost came up because of the time. Now we can talk about it as not a thing anymore. But there was a brief time where where Clone was glitched. That got fixed. But I feel like Lava popped up heavy, and this deck popped up specifically because of that situation.
And I just want to mention, because I am a man of honor, that even though I am a Lava Clone player, I did not play Lava Clone throughout that whole glitch. I waited for it to get fixed. I still haven't played it just because I'm having a lot of fun with the Archer Queen and it doesn't fit in the Lava Clone deck. But yeah, I did not abuse of that.
And look at that. Bat's going to get tanked for a little bit and help out with those minions. And yeah, that was a nice pickup there. But as we go into the midway point of regulation, Wallace up 1 elixir and up a little bit of damage as well. So chooses to just stack some damage at this stage. What's the key here for Legolas? You have Tesla, delivery, most likely poison as Wallace's last card in bats. What does he do to break through against Wallace?
I think the biggest issue here is not only on offense for Legolas, it's the defensive end. So the only way to stop the Golden Knight is the guards. He's always going to have to use those guards against the Golden Knight. This time around, he uses a miner, but then again, that's going to be a lot of damage anyway. The only true way of stopping it is the guards. He misses the guard's kite there, and then you don't have anything left for the miner. This Tesla placement was beautiful, and he can't defend or attack. And I think it's even worse not being able to defend and not being able to go on offense. Because on offense, you can just hope for a little bit chip there, here and there. But this is the reason why. You cannot use the guards on the miner like you normally would. You need them for here. He doesn't even stop this, and that's GG.
And there you go. Nice chunk of damage left-hand side as we go into our final 10. This is going to be the last gaps here. Wallace does have Tesla in cycle, though. I don't know if there's anywhere near enough time for a breakthrough to happen. Miner goes in. He probably can get back to a second Tesla. No goes ahead and drops delivery. Balloon does get 1 drop. Can it get a second drop in time? Will there be enough damage? Not quite. 475 left. And there you go. Wallace with a clean 2-0. So our first winner's bracket semifinal is going to be Wallace versus Werro. That's an amazing matchup.
It is. And if I'm just going to say something to everyone that's still competing in this, I know Mo's in the chat, you know, just use the champions. We all know they are amazing cards, even if it's just the Archer Queen or the Golden Knight. If you're good with the Golden Knight, the first big difference in the first round of the people that won and the people that lost is the use of the champions. Use them. They are allowed. There's no reason not to. Take the advantage that you can and be smart with it. There's a lot of money on the line, right? There's not like, oh, I don't want to use the champions, I think they're broken. No, man, there's $5,000 for first place. I would use whatever card, you know, in the game. And I think moving forward for Legolas as well as Goku, you need to be better set up for day 2. You see the best in the world. Wallace came out with 2 decks. You saw Werro use the Golden Knight as well. Follow their lead because they're at the top for a reason.
Well, and more likely than not, no word yet, obviously, but more likely than not, we're going to be seeing champions at CRL World Finals. So this is a good chance to get some reps in there as well in competitive play. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket now that Wallace has moved on. Our next matchup in the upper bracket, we'll be seeing this in a little bit later today. Werro versus Wallace, not our next matchup, our first semifinal. What a great one. And of course, you see Goku and Legolas both down but not out. Tomorrow we will do the entire lower bracket, the Elimination Gauntlet, so they will play an elimination match tomorrow as we kick things off. But now, coming up next, we go to the world number 2 player at the moment, a guy who's been a top-tier talent for a long time, made a big splash in CRL, especially after he switched from solo play to 2v2 and helped really change Pain Gaming's fortunes. It's going to be Lucas up against a very talented American Magma, who, you know, given the meta right now, this could be a challenging situation for maybe both of these players.
Yeah, I think I would give the edge to Lucas just on, I think Magma in his peak, and he's had time that he's really, you know, proven that he can compete with anyone, could compete with Lucas. But I think the preparation that Lucas is doing right now for World Finals must be at another level than what Magma is practicing, right?
Sure.
I expect, in my mind, Lucas all day, every day, getting ready for that World Final spot. And I think he should be more knowledgeable on how to use the champions better with them mechanically as well. So I would give the edge to Lucas.
So here we go into game number 1, and maybe similar looks in both directions. Lucas showing shades of bridge spam, same thing from Magma on the bottom. So we'll see if that is in fact the case. And here we go, Archer Queen first out, and it does feel like there are at least some options here for Lucas to maybe be waiting and holding on to that. Whoa, goes aggressive with the lightning. Wow. So both lightning and P.E.K.K.A. here as potential options to deal with that Archer Queen.
And a perfect defense as well there. Ram Rider to Ram Rider on your side. That's always what you want to do. This bandage should go down as well before it actually gets a hit onto tower. And that Ram Rider, I've never seen a more defensive Ram Rider in my life, but it took out an opponent Ram Rider and the full bandit.
So a nice opening here for the Brazilian. Lucas certainly happy that he's playing Lightning in this matchup, and Golden Knight as well. So if Magma is in fact playing Lightning as well, this might be the wasted opportunity for the 8.5K player out of the USA.
Yeah, and I don't know why. It's just the way the Golden Knight walks is just so funny to me. It's like, you know, the little side to side. It's exactly, they nailed it, but I think Lucas has a big matchup advantage here.
Now this is fascinating. I have not seen that specific interaction before. The Golden Knight began his dash before the Archer Queen went invisible, and the dash still connected on the invisible Archer Queen. So very important to keep that one in mind.
Yeah, you have to, Archer Queen has to go first in order for it not to dash on it. I learned that the hard way as well in a game where I thought, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to click this as soon as I see that's about to start dashing. But no, you have to be the first one to click on that interaction or you're basically done. And that lightning not only hits the Archer Queen, but it also connects onto the Mega Knight. So even though you're not going to see anything come out of this, P.E.K.K.A. wise, that is a ton of value. He no longer has to defend on the other end.
Even Elixir in the hole, but +4 on the board in the case of Lucas's Golden Knight. And the Golden Knight gets a nice connection on the Bandit and the tower.
Yeah, and that was a beautiful snowball, which is what enabled it to connect onto the tower and push the Bandit back, which didn't allow the Bandit to dash forward. And that's what I was talking about. You see the interaction difference in the champion usage for Lucas because he's preparing for it. We don't have official word, like you said, on whether it's going to be allowed or not. And that was a weird dash. Weird usage. It worked out.
All pretty close, but a nice little bit of defense. And Bandit, oh my gosh, the piggy spawns to save the tower from the Bandit dash.
P.E.K.K.A. gets one hit onto tower as well. Lightning there. He now needs to spend more to use this. A snowball prediction there. Ram Rider connect. No, Matt. Lucas
is on a level right now. Lucas is, you know, you might suspect that he's about to play for $200,000 in a couple weeks. You know, maybe that's a thing. So,
and we thought, you know, it's like, oh, you got Wallace in the first round. How unfortunate. Magma, I'm so sorry, man. Like, you can see Lucas is just on another level right now.
Absolutely dialed in. The Golden Knight interactions have been on point here, and another connection. And that's going to be a lightning to get that within snowball range.
That's it.
A GG, a well played. So far, the favorites are undefeated on this weekend. We'll see if Lucas can close this one out in 2 and keep that streak going.
That was such a beautiful match. If you want to play this type of deck, this P.E.K.K.A. Lightning Ram Rider Golden Knight, for some reason, that is your style. Watch that over 17 different times and see how he played it, because there was not one mistake that whole match from Lucas.
Not in the least bit, and looks like the Team America glass is not working out for Magma so far. We'll see if he can pull it out, or maybe Ian finds some luck against Mohammed Light. But right now,
good luck with
Lucas
certainly
in the lead. Looking at the Twitch chat here for a moment, Tomb saying, Tomb86 saying the Conor McGregor walk. Maybe the Golden Knight doing the Conor McGregor bully walk as
It
he
is
comes
exactly that. That is it. I didn't put two and two together until he said it, but it is so. I knew that it was funny to me from somewhere, but now that I see it in my head, it is exactly the Conor McGregor walk.
Seen a lot of first-time chatters. Mag, good to see you. Dape, welcome. Penguin Tortuga, how are you? Antonio, welcome everybody, whether you're coming from inside of Twitch or you're joining us from inside of the Clash Royale app. This is the Royale Masters Championship weekend, a $10,000 finale today and tomorrow. 8 players have qualified through 4 weeks of play to make it right here with $5,000 to our champion. Today is the winner's bracket. Tomorrow is the elimination gauntlet, and you're here for all of that alongside myself, Rich Slayton, and world champion coach of Team Liquid, Eric Benamou. And Eric, so we come through game number 1. Magma gets absolutely housed here in a very, very just clean performance by Lucas. Lucas did, of course, use the lightning and did open up a possibility for open some possibilities here because Magma can repeat whatever he wants. So if you're a betting man, and I know you are, what are your chances here that we see an Archer Queen out of Magma in game number 2?
I think we see it out of both of them. If there was a parlay type of thing where I can put it on both, I think they're both coming out with it. But at the same time, you said Lucas used his lightning and everything. But that was the value that he needed out of the lightning. He beat an Archer Queen deck. That is what you want out of it. Eventually, you're going to have to play in this format against another Archer Queen, most likely. But as long as you can get that one win and not waste it on a deck that wasn't the Archer Queen deck, you're good. You used it. You now know the Archer Queen deck that he likes. And if I'm Lucas, I set up my own Archer Queen deck against that works out well against that specific one. Because I do think it's smart to repeat deck, like you said.
So a big reminder here, I'm seeing some questions. What's the format? Today, this weekend, we are in an 8-person double elimination tournament to get to our champion with a $10,000 prize pool and $5,000, the grand prize for our weekend champion. Now, quick moment here for the format. We are using a modified version of duel rules. What does that mean? That means that in every single best of 3, if you win with a deck, all 8 cards are out, and if you lose, you can repeat those cards. So a variation on dual mode, meaning that all the cards Lucas just used are out, but Magma might just straight run it back, as we see the Royal Ghost as his first card.
Yeah, and I think it's a smart decision to run it back if you feel comfortable with that deck. If you feel comfortable with it, you ran into a brick wall with every answer that was possible. You had P.E.K.K.A for Mega Knight, you had the Lightning for the Archer Queen, as well as the E-Wiz. You had Ram Rider versus Ram Rider on defense. It was quite possibly the worst matchup you could have hoped for. So if you still feel comfortable with it, there's no reason not to run it back.
And I see some people asking about emotes and channel points. We're not doing predictions for channel points here, and there are no emotes. What you get here is some great Clash Royale and an Archer Queen connection. And Magma, with some restraint there, not popping the super for that Archer Queen.
Yeah, I don't know if it would have come down in time because he did use it against the Knight as it was crossing the bridge to make sure that it stayed alive. And this road delivery might go down before the E-Wiz does, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the E-Wiz does not go down, and that's not what you want. It forces out more defense out of you. And Lucas not looking all that great to the start of this match.
No, and you're seeing a big change already, and Cannon Cart gets dropped early, meaning that graveyard is now naked on tower. Royal Ghost won't mitigate all the damage.
Yeah.
It's gonna probably still be behind, and there you go. Gonna be, wow, the last of the Larry down to 2297, so does make up some ground, but this is gonna be a tough one for Lucas.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, but that Lightning was, in my opinion, just wasn't the play. He was so far ahead that I think if he over defended with troops and created a counter push for himself, it would have been a lot a better move. He threw out the Lightning, has no counter, then the Ghost is just not good enough for the graveyard. He needs to play the future graveyard defenses with a counter push mentality. That's where you're really going to catch Lucas off.
So here we go. Left-hand side, deep in, and the Archer Queen pops, and that's a nice little counter there play with the Goblin Cage picking up.
Yeah, that was a beautiful play, and it all comes down to that World Finals practice. He knows that there is a possibility that champions will be allowed, and you're going to see all these interactions and the best ways to defend it. For me, if I was playing, I probably would have panicked and threw out a delivery and a Knight and a Mega Minion and all of this, and they all would have gone down to that invisibility. But it's I'm learning as well as the people in the chat. Watching people like Lucas play really will get you that advantage when you play against other champions yourself.
And just so you know, I know it says Legolas Goku on the left-hand side. There you go. Now all updated. Lucas on the top, Magma on the bottom. And right now, the American in the lead as we go into sudden death overtime between this matchup with Graveyard and Ram Rider with the Archer Queen.
Yeah, and he's going to have to be able to start separating that lightning value. You can no longer play cannon cards to defend on the left-hand side. Every time you play a cannon card to defend on the left-hand side, it's cost you a lightning, and that chipping is really taking a toll on Lucas. So he needs to be a lot more careful. Should be another lightning here as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like Lucas needs to get that cannon cart played a little bit higher just so it can act as a second building for the Ram Rider.
Yeah, exactly that. You cannot keep giving away that lightning value. Obviously, this matchup is a really tough matchup for Lucas in general.
Wow.
Beautiful fireball there, though.
Very nice fireball. 10-24 to 669. Lucas staying in it. Magma with a good shot here. Triple elixir on its way. Who does triple elixir favor here in your eyes?
It favors Lucas for sure. If he just needs to continuously get graveyards down, that he forced out the lightning up high. This Archer Queen, if it goes invisible, takes care of everything. But as long as he can defend this Ram Rider, he's now in a really good position.
Archer Queen does stay alive. Ram Rider does barely get the connection. 352. Was it the lightning that hit, but not the Ram Rider?
I don't. One of the things hit. I don't know. The lightning was directly on tower, so I don't know which one connected, to be honest. But only one of them did.
I think Ram Rider connected and lightning hit the two archers in the night at that point, but I could be wrong. I need to go back and watch that one again. Here we go, 655 to 352. Lucas trying to press the action. High cage this time to not give lightning value. Lightning down, 35 HP. Can he stop that? Fireball has to stop the Ram Rider. Fireball on the Ram Rider and then not on the tower. Oh no, the Ram Rider went down. The Ram Rider went down. Oh no, and Lucas, what is Fireball at level 11? What's Fireball at level 11? I haven't even done
Is it 207?
Hold on, let me go take a look. I have not done my spell, I've not researched all my new spell values here. Fireball level 11.
If it was 215 or more, he's going to be kicking himself. I'm pretty sure it's 207 though, or something.
Let me take a look. Fireball level 11, 207. There you go, Eric. Definitely on point here. Woo, boy, that was.
He would have lost anyway, but at least we would have been able to count it down to the 8 HP match. But that was incredible.
That was wild. Lucas nearly battling back here, but able to hold on is Magma. So Magma now ties things up and. Taking a look at the decks between those first two. Again, keep in mind, Lucas in game number 1 ran Ram Rider, P.E.K.K.A, Golden Knight, and Lightning. So, of course, Lightning out on his side. But let's take a look at game number 2 here, where we just saw Magma run Archer Queen and Lightning, which makes things very interesting because now Archer Queen out, Mega Knight out, Lightning out. Lucas, the chances that he doesn't run Archer Queen here in game number 3?
Non-existent. There's no way. There's no way he doesn't run the Archer Queen, and right now Lucas is better set up than Magma, and that was the strategy behind Lucas. Is he won with Lightning, but he won it with the Golden Knight, not the Archer Queen, which is the big difference in the sense that they both have Lightning out, but I didn't waste mine. I predicted you were going to repeat your deck. Great, you beat me. Now how are you going to defend against my Archer Queen and the deck that I want to run? Because like you said, it's not only the Lightning that's gone. He doesn't have a counter Archer Queen, and at the same time, he also doesn't have a Mega Knight in his hand that is a good defense to it if needed, right? So it's gonna get pretty tough for him.
All right, game number 3 on its way. I see you in chat right now, 1,100 of you watching on Twitch. So go ahead and vote right now. Will it be Lucas winning game number 3 or Magma? Let's go ahead and get a little straw poll and see how you guys feel. Obviously, I'm pretty sure, Eric, you're picking Lucas here. I'm going to pick Lucas here, even though I'm supporting my countrymen in this one. Lucas already has a World Finals berth. He doesn't need this one the same way that Magma needs this one. So I'm going to pull for Magma in this one, but my guess here is most votes will be for Lucas, and I'm seeing coming in. Let's see, Mr. T saying Lucas, Great 95 saying Lucas. It's Dylan votes for Lucas, Assassin as well. I see Soul Music saying Rich Slayton in the house. Yes, so is Eric Benemu. And it's just Lucas from It's Made. Lucas from Dempo Likes You. Lucas.
It's hard to bet against
Toddfather with a Magma. There we go. We're getting some Magmas in there finally.
It was a caster induced vote. I feel like, you know, like it was like Lucas. Someone give me a Magma, and he was the one. But I mean, if we're being honest, it's so hard to bet against Lucas. It just is, not only as a player, but I think he has the matchup advantage in this third game. He has Archer Queen. None of them have lightning, and it's pretty much that simple. You good luck defending against it. I want to see what comes out of Magma here. He has to have something in mind. There is no way you go into this game number 3 with a deck that's bad against Archer Queen. If you do that, you're basically guaranteeing yourself a loss.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting situation here. And I want to go back to the end of that last matchup, because we did see Lucas play Fireball on defense to prevent the Ram Rider connection. Obviously, it didn't need the Fireball. Ram Rider died before that. But that's one of those interesting moments where, you know, you understand the mentality, but it's also one of those ones where the only way he could have won is if he put Fireball on the offensive side. How do you train players for that kind of moment? Because that split-second decision, it almost feels like it's more instinct than anything else.
It is. It is not, in my opinion, it is not a practice thing. It's just the way your brain functions. It has to go. And I feel like if you put Lucas in that situation 10 times, 8 times he fireballs his opponent's tower, right? It was a last-minute split decision that I don't think anyone can train you for. It's just the more you play and the more you're put in those situations, the better you get at it. But you can't mimic that in practice because you never have the pressure. He's not playing for $5,000 in practice. He is practicing situational things, but the adrenaline isn't there, right? And the pressure and the nerves are never gonna be there in practice. So I think it's just something that the more you live through it, the better you get at it.
So here we are, game number 3, and the not-so-common these days staring contest to open things up. And we'll see if they do end up waiting all the way until the final minute 5, or if they pull the trigger earlier.
I think we're at this point. We're waiting. We're gonna enjoy the nice little music that Clash gives us. You know,
I'll tell you, if there's one thing I've asked for in updates for a long time, it's just, you know what? Just if they even have an open contest of people playing variations of the Clash theme. I want to hear like a metal version, a house version,
it would be
a bluegrass. Fun. Right? Well, you know, that's one thing. Apex Legends does that great. The Apex Legends has like 40 different versions of their theme music that you can unlock and mix in. That would be one of the cool things for such a tiny quality of life change, but that would be a lot of fun inside of CR. And okay, Lucas not waiting until the end, and feels like it's going to be lava with guards, but who knows at this point?
If I mean, you said I'm a betting man, and I'm glad I was not for this, because if it is that lava, then probably no Archer Queen, and I would have lost a lot. But it's very surprising if Lucas doesn't run an Archer Queen deck here, and he's running lava, and it could have just been all a mind game in the sense that you're going to expect Archer Queen, and I'm going to give you something completely different. But I don't think lava's all that great when it comes to recruits. You have to continuously split your troops in both lanes. You can never get the full push that you want. And this Golden Knight's going to be a lot of pressure. We already saw what happened last time someone played lava against Golden Knight. It's just too much pressure on the ground to handle.
This is a good first exchange, though, from Lucas. Miner goes to the back. Recruit's going to get pulled, and should give if the Baby Dragon can get a little bit further. No, and that's going to hold on. And Lucas not quite back around to Fireball yet as he defends the right-hand side. So Magma defends nicely early on. It does feel like Lucas got the better of the opening exchanges, but still very close.
Yeah, in my opinion, he definitely got the better of the first exchange, but even then, it wasn't flawless. When you look at the tower damage on the right as well from Magma, it's basically even, and that was with us in our brain. Clearly, Lucas won that exchange, and even then, he wasn't able to do too much damage to him. He's going to have to guards play here in the middle as well. There's a guards play, and that's always going to have to stay reserved directly for that Golden Knight, and that was a mistake on Magma's part. That is way too much fireball value.
And a bit of a suspect fireball from Magma, getting the flying machine but not tower damage. Doesn't matter for the moment, though. He is in the lead in both lanes. 17:05 left-hand side on Lucas, 19:31 on the other, as we are with 90 seconds remaining in this best-of-3 matchup.
Yeah, and Lucas is playing this very well. Magma has to be a lot more careful with the fireball value that he gives up, and this is it. That is tower, that is game. Lucas moves on, and our winners keep on winning. The people that came in here expecting a finals and 5,000, they're all through so far, and I think the most dominant player is still the one left.
Wow, that was absolutely insane. Well played by Lucas, and he did a really good job of creating penetrative damage in situations where it didn't feel like he could get it.
Yeah, that second lava on the bridge was so smart out of him. He saw originally the problem was that fireball value, right? If you do not give up that fireball value, or you split the hogs in the middle and then you force out a lot more defense, he doesn't have that lava on the bridge. But he realized, okay, fireball value is only 4 right now. I'm gonna take some chip damage, but that's not gonna take my tower down, so let me just go full on push. This is probably the only opportunity I'm gonna have. And then just everything after that was spam on the bridge, and man, super smart play out of Lucas, and I love to see that out of him playing lava. He hasn't always been the best lava player. If I'm just being 100% honest, we've seen Lucas not be the greatest of those heavy deck players. He is a top 3 when it comes to cycle, but you know, let's check out the bracket, and then I'll get back to that.
Sure, let's go ahead and take a look and see where we are at this stage. Lucas moving on. So you look at our upper bracket at the moment, Werro, Wallace, Lucas, and then it's going to be up to Ian to try to stop the world #1 player, Mohammed Light, from giving us yet another. And the number of times Lucas and Mo have played each other this year might be more than anybody. And then and how often they've played it with high dollar amounts on the line. So we'll see if Ian can hold on. Magma down but not out. That's the word of the day. Down but not out. He'll be in the lower bracket, and he'll be part of that elimination gauntlet tomorrow. Now let's continue along with the thought you were talking about. Lucas, of course, known as a cycle player, but with World Finals coming up soon, 2 big notes here. Number 1, the Lava Hound play is big from him, but then number 2, the gamesmanship here with not playing Archer Queen. Maybe some big preview stuff for Worlds.
Yeah, and one last point is the way he played that match number 1 with the Golden Knight. That was incredible. That was beautiful gameplay out of him as well. And it was, to my point, was basically that if Lucas can show up to World Finals and be able to place a deck like Lava at the same level as everything else, he just got so much more dangerous. I would not want to go up against him. And like you said, the gamesmanship was on point as well. He showed up into that last match. I was expecting it. Everyone else was expecting it. No Lightning, no Archer Queen, no Mega Knight out of Magma. And I'm still going to bait you into thinking I'm going with something on the ground. And then I show up with a Lava deck.
Let's go ahead and jump into our next matchup. Here we go, our second of 2 Americans, and that's why the glasses are staying on here, folks. Ian, the 8.9K player, the #1 Hog EQ player on the planet, according to many people, up against the #1 player consensus of 2021, and putting up maybe one of the best years that we've ever seen in Clash Royale. Shout out to Surgical Goblin 2017, Mohammed Light.
Yeah, and there's no words. Like you said, if Mo wasn't around, Lucas would probably have the greatest year anyone can ask for, right? But unfortunately, it was one of those situations with like the Messi and Ronaldo, where like Ronaldo would have won the MVP for 15 seasons in a row, but you know what? You just happen to be here at the same time as Messi. So it really does come down to that. Mo is just on a different level since day 1 of this year. It hasn't been 1 or 2 months. It's been a consistent full year, and beautiful defense there. Miner comes in as well. These bats are going to get a ton of value if he's not. Oh, is the Mother Witch down? Yes, it is. And
that whole sequence was insane. That whole sequence was so bananas. It started with the brilliant log, knowing he's up, he's going to be seeing that Electro Spirit again to deal with the bats. So he logs the RG back a little bit and gets the E-Spirit out, and then getting all the way deep in penetration to get some bats value. That was, if you want to talk about why Mohammed Light's #1 player in the world, you just saw an example right there.
Yeah, and Ian throws out the log with the crying, and Ian, I feel you, man. It's okay. It's okay. You're not the first person to feel like that when they're playing against Mo either, okay? Everyone has gone through it this year. It is unfortunate that this is your first round match. He's going to delivery on the left as well, and then just You know, everything is perfect. Every single interaction just works perfectly. He's set up for every situation. And I don't know how you beat this guy. I really don't.
Well, you go for wild deck picks and hope that Julesy fell asleep today. That's really the only way to do it, in my opinion, on any sort of consistent level, the way that Mo's been playing. And again, the second time seeing this deck today, I believe this is the most popular deck amongst Grand Challenge winners right now. If you look at the CMC bot that gives you Grand Challenge winners, this specific minor poison deck comes up over and over, and we're kind of seeing, now shout out B-Rad and all the Canadian players, we're seeing maybe a renaissance of minor poison control with this specific deck.
Yeah, you're not wrong at all. This Archer Queen's going to go down. Tesla's back in cycle. Lightning does come in. He's going to have to go Skellies and Log here to avoid some extra damage. Not even really that much. He's still ahead. The Miners connecting, and Poison could just cycle off with the Miners coming in. The Log being used there is a little scary for him now. He does not have anything for that Electro Spirit. He is going to add pressure on the right, though, which it's significant pressure. It's not just something you can leave alone, and that's why he added the bats there. He knows he's not going to get value behind trying to defend the RG because of the Electro Spirit. He baits out the Electro Spirit, and now he's good to go on defense again.
Here we go, final 90 seconds, 11:15, the mark on the right-hand side. Mo firmly in control, but this is where that Royal Giant Lightning Archer Queen can stack. Ian has an opportunity here, has to make the best of it as we go into our final seconds and triple elixir as well.
Yeah, but this is the issue, right? He used Mo. You thought Mo outplayed himself by using the Log against the Barb Barrel, and then he outplayed him into using the Electro Spirit on the other side, and then got full value out of his bats here on that defense, which that was an RG that started all the way in the back. It was not an RG on the bridge. Like, this was all, you know, developing in front of us, and I mean, it's just such a smart play. Every single time Mo is going to use the bats on defense, he knows exactly what cards need to accompany it to be able to keep them alive, and it's just, I mean, this is so impressive.
And it's an absolute shutdown of the Archer Queen as well. With the underrated is the delivery in dealing with the Archer Queen, and we're seeing that here.
Yeah, he does not even need to get any more damage. He should dash here just so that he can avoid that Mother Witch, possibly get that down as well. But here we go again. The bats are there. The Mother Witch is done. The bats and the Skellies are acting like a 30 elixir card at this point.
RG in, Miner with bats. A nice Miner tanking on that Royal Giant. And there you go. High Tesla, shutdown gameplay. Ian has to say good game, because we just saw a nearly, I would love to go through that just bit by bit and find where you can see a Mohammed Light mistake in that game.
Look, I wake up and I say thank you for a lot of things, right? But what I'm going to start saying thank you to is that I'm not the one matching first round against Mo. That must have been the most frustrating thing to play as an RG player that I've ever seen. I've been in that situation where you're playing and you just can't break through and you can't break through. But these weren't the usual defenses. Like, every time you're trying something new, okay, I'm going to use no Electro Spirit. I'm going to play the Fisherman on this side, and now I'm going to use it without the Fisherman and see. And like, nothing was breaking through. He even had Lightning for the Teslas, and that must have been so frustrating to play against. And I know I sound like a Mo fanboy, and it's because I am a Mo fanboy. I love good Clash Royale, and I'm not going to hide it. He just played the best Clash Royale I've seen today, along with that first game from Lucas.
Yeah, I mean, how do you not love it? And, you know, you talk about things you're thankful for, Eric. I think another one you're probably thankful for is that Mo's competitive career didn't kick off in 2019, because that could have been a hitch in those World Championship engines with a guy playing like that. And that's an interesting question. I want to bring this up to you because we've talked about Mo's 2021. You know, we have a few players. Obviously, Surgical Goblin had the best year of anybody in 2017.
Yeah.
In 2018, 2019, there's some debates there on who had the best year in those two. I'm curious what your thoughts are there. 2020, Ruben had a year
best.
that in many ways rivaled Surgical Goblin's 2017. But Mo doing another. The big question, of course, does the World Championship come at the end? But Mo's 2021. So let's just take those three. And if you have a fourth or fifth to throw in from 2018 to 2019,
Javi might be a good candidate in that 2018 coming in, but he didn't win a World Championship. And the biggest problem is that you play all year to seal the deal with the World Championship, right? And yeah. Surgical's year in 2017, it wasn't like a World Championship type of thing, but it was just championship after championship after championship all year long, right? So like, Javi had a great CRL LATAM. I think it was, no disrespect, I think it was the weaker region out of the top ones in the first CRL when it came to talent. And I think it got proven as very few CRL LATAM players moved on into the West and Asia and actually had a lot of success. That's why I think it's a little different. But to your question, I'm assuming you were heading to who has the best year out of the three.
Yeah, you have Surgical Goblins 2017, Ruben's 2020, and just to put some context there, you have Team Queso winning the No Tilt League Special Edition, Team Queso winning the World Championship, Ruben, of course, stacking up some other major accomplishments in that year. So it's an interesting balance between that Surge's 2017 and the 2021 that Mo's putting up.
I think if Mo wins World Finals, he is single-handedly, no one can doubt this is the greatest year of any player within Clash Royale. If he manages to win World Finals and no one has had a year with him, I think Surgical's 2017 comes next in the fact that it was individual, right? The thing with Ruben is he dominated all of that 2020. It was clear, but at the same time, it is different when you do it alone than when you do it with the team, right? You have the whole support staff, you have the whole team house. JP showed up many times as well throughout the season. The 2v2 from Benny and Gucci wasn't great until that World Finals. They actually did win their 2v2s for like 50% of them, right? So it's a little bit different. Would they have made it to World Finals or won without Ruben? Absolutely not. But when you just see what Surge did in 2017 or what Mo is doing right now, I think that outweighs in the individual concept. And then the reason I would give Mo over Surge if he wins this World Finals, not as the GOAT, but as the best year ever, is the level of gameplay I think that we have today compared to 2017.
And it's been some really amazing gameplay, of course, this year. We've seen sort of this evolution where no longer is it 44 cards in the game and a very limited way of playing, but so many more pieces go into it, as we've seen now. And of course, Mohammed Light's been phenomenal. Ruben's last year was great. Of course, he'd also won the Bren Chong Cup in the summer, did Ruben. So I'll be curious to see when people do the math on all those pages, how you break them out piece by piece. But we are finally getting game number 2 here. Mo Light with the advantage. And again, let me remind you folks watching at home, I see a lot of you in chat now coming here. King Metric saying a link in Clash Royale led me here. Wow, welcome. Let me remind you, the deck that Mohammed won with is no longer available to him now. That deck is out for him, but Ian, having not won a game in this matchup yet, does have the full breadth, and he's choosing to go double bait in this matchup against, oh, interesting, I was going to say Graveyard. Does Bomber still say Graveyard here?
It definitely can. I don't think it's out of the question at all. We've seen Bomber Graveyard decks, but so far looking okay for Mo on answers, right? That Snowball is going to be great for the Skelly Barrel. He has the Bomber as well here for...
Oh my lord. Julesy, stop it! Stop
Let people
it.
play, Julesy, all right? You already have the best player. Let people have a chance at this point. Bomber, Snowball, Valk, Archer, Queen, Arrows.
Julesy, take a break, man. That's so crazy.
I feel bad that Ian even has to play this out. like
Snowball arrows.
I thought he was gonna have something because I feel like Mo wouldn't have used the Bomber if it wasn't if he didn't have something else, but I was not expecting arrows to be the other spell.
Oh my lord. Oh my lord.
This is rough.
Yeah. Well, that's why. Look, you talk about the reasons why Mo's been number 1 in the world this year, why he's having such a year this year. Sure, his micro is phenomenal, his macro is beautiful, but his partnership, when you talk about things, you're going to talk about like Phil Jackson and Kobe. You're going to talk about Pat Riley and Jordan. You're going to talk about Brady and Grumpy Face, right? You talk about all these great coach and player matchups. And Grumpy Face. Belichick, right? You talk about all these great coaching matchups. I mean, in the world of Clash Royale, how many better coaching pairs have there been? You put together what you did with your team, but you did some tremendous things. Maybe like on one level, you talk about what Luis did with RF for a long time. But man, Julesy and Mohammed Light, it's a legendary combination.
It is 100%. Somehow Ian is just racking up damage here. I don't know what is going on, but I agree with you. I think I don't like to, it's kind of weird when I put myself up as a candidate. Obviously, we went through a Liquid not making playoffs to then being one game off elimination in the first season we were there, to making probably the biggest comeback, to then winning WCG as well, with everyone being the only undefeated team, and then World Finals. It was crazy. But I think what Julesy, because Julesy is not only the coach, but also kind of like the analyst as well, right? And it's like, we planned for 10 teams that we knew that's what we had to plan for, right? We were competing against the same players for 2 months, and you analyze that. Julesy never knows who Mo's going to play in the next monthly qualifier. It is just a random selection of players all competing, and you have to be a lot more, adapting to it. And I think that's what makes it so impressive.
I will say this, though, the Poison, an interesting wrinkle in this deck out of Ian. So here we a lot of good stuff out of what Mo's got deck-wise, but Ian able to out-cycle so far and defend these graveyards cleanly.
Yeah, and Ian's going to win this game. I'm very impressed. I thought that this was going to be a GG, to be honest. I think he hasn't been able to get any value out of his Archer Queens as well. The arrows seem to be always catching him out of cycle, and the arrow usage there as well. I don't know if it was needed, in my opinion, but who am I to tell Mo if it was needed or not? Arrows right now would come very nicely onto that Dark Goblin.
Yeah, and then arrow. Yes, he goes arrows plus snowball. Valk defends most of those shots. 678 to 1475. 35 seconds left, and now here's the pressure on the right-hand lane from Ian.
Yeah, and he's gonna have to let this Skelly Barrel go, in my opinion. He's gonna go. Oh no, snowball.
Yep, does have the snowball. Graveyard defended by the Poison. Archer Queen goes invisible. Archer Queen goes invisible, and the Skarmy gets down in time. Valk to defend the Archer Queen. She will not stay up, but Valk now in taking for the Graveyard. 13 seconds left. High cage here. Poison down against the GY. Snowball in, trying to make some space. Valk can't get there. Arrows have to come out on defense. They aren't going to do enough here. GG, well played. Until I saw that Poison, this felt like a shutdown matchup for Mohammed Light. Credit to Ian here. The Poison was a huge, huge call out of the American, and we're going to game 3.
Yeah, and also big ups to Ian for holding off that late game pressure. Mo was relentless at the end. It was just graveyard after graveyard, snowballs. He handled that very well. It got close to 343, but the way he was able to continuously, add that pressure to force out the arrows on defense or the snowball on defense was what saved him the game. If he was continuously getting those arrows and snowball on offense and just playing too defensive, he loses that match at the end. So, big ups to Ian as well in recognizing that and played very well at the end.
Yeah, that was so fascinating from seeing something on the front end where we're like, oh, this is absolute shutdown matchup here for Mohammed Light, and then the turnaround there with the Poison as the choice. Poison with bait is not a choice that you typically do, right? You usually run that with no small spell, or you run that with Fireball, or occasionally with Rocket. For the double bait, usually you're just going small spell. So really, really great choice there, and a good read out of Ian and his team.
Yeah, I mean, as impressed as we were with the read from Julesy, I'm just as impressed with the read of running Poison in that deck. That is, like you said, you don't see double bait Poison. It doesn't make sense, right? You want that quick damage, that get the troops off the board, the Fireball pushback onto possible defenses for the barrels as well. Poison doesn't really take off a cage or a Tesla in time if you need it either. That was such a weird but smart call out of the team from Ian.
So here we go. Game number 1, Mo runs the very popular Minor Poison control deck with Delivery and Log and the Golden Knight. So Poison, Log, and Delivery all out on the side of Mo. And so by the way, Delivery and Log both being out, also a great call for running that double bait out of Ian's side. So that was game number 1. So those are out here for Mohammed Light still. On the side of Ian, we did just see him not only win this matchup here, but more importantly, he won against the Archer Queen, not playing Lightning. So now I'd be surprised here if we don't see Ian go to Lightning in game number 3 in anticipation of a potential Archer Queen again.
If he gets a good matchup, and I mean, Ian is one of those players that has been underrated all year long, right? We've heard it from a lot of people. I've heard it. Corona is probably his biggest fan in the whole community, and he always tells me about him. And as I see him play more and more, you can see that there is that road to the top for Ian. He is the next in my opinion, the next air surfer for, you know, the US.
Sure.
Because you've had a lot of players from the US that are good, but you never really see them get to that top level, other than, you know, you had Wings on Cloud9, and then the air surfer that you saw, Vulcan as well. And I think Ian is that next player up that is, you know, going to be representing the US. Who knows how many more years air surfer is at the top, but it does seem like Ian is his successor.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen what he's done on ladder, playing Hog EQ in particular. Some good deck variability. He's had some success, of course, this year in competitive play. Just barely missed CRO World Finals in the LCQs. Yeah. So Ian's certainly a guy that I think a lot of American fans are looking forward to as a potential carry for next year. And we'll see, of course, if it turns into that. Of course, right now, right in front of him, he has a best of one against Mohammed Light. Again, the loser here is not out, goes to the lower bracket. Yeah. But a win against Mo on this stage would be a big one for the young American.
Yeah, it would be huge. You're not going to make it. It's not going to change anything on the World Finals side, but it sure has to feel good, right? And moving forward, I mean, Ian probably has the toughest road of anyone here, even if he did beat Mo. True. You have to go against Lucas next, and then you have to go against the winner of either Wallace or Werro. Like, if Ian is making it to the winner's final and winning the winner's final, it is the toughest road you could possibly go through, no doubt. But it would prove a lot to himself, I think. I think that's all he's playing for, other than the money, for the rest of this year. When you're not in Worlds, you're just proving yourself right, showing why you should continue next year. And even with how close it is against Mo right now, it should be enough for him. But if he's able to get that win, it's big.
Yeah, that would be a huge one. Now, to go over what Ian ran in game number 2, remember, this version of Royale Masters, their dual mode means if you win with a deck, those 8 cards are out. So we already went over what we saw Mo run in game number 1. Game number 2, Ian gets the win. And this is an interesting deck. It's double bait, so Skeleton Barrel, Goblin Barrel, both out. Poison and Delivery, the 2 spells he cannot use, which honestly might be the 2 spells you're most happy to give up for game number 3. Inferno Tower, Dart Goblin, Scar Me. Valk is the only really central meta card that's not a spell that Ian burned in that matchup.
Yeah, it's I think Ian is in a pretty nice position. It seems like he's going to probably go an RG Ghost deck here with this Archer Queen as well. It's either that or some Mega Knight version of it. It's looking like RG, and that's going to activate King Tower for him, though. This Ram Rider is going to get a lot of damage, though, onto this tower, but at least he did get that King Tower activation.
1795, the mark on the left-hand side. Royal Ghost still alive, first minute away. And I see Lil Tremice in the Twitch chat saying, let me at him, G's. I could beat these guys. Well, they had open qualifiers, so... and just a straight lightning just on the Archer Queen from Ian.
That hurts.
It hurts, but it's also a -2 trade. How often can he do that?
I mean, that's why it hurts so much. It's like you get no value out of that lightning at all. If Mo can catch him out of cycle every time and just force out that lightning, Mo is guaranteed a win in this match. It is that simple. Yeah, and it looks like he's going to get this one pretty handily here. And again, to continue along with, I see a little Trey Mice in the chat. There are open qualifiers for these events all the time. Go ahead and follow at Royale Masters right below. You can follow also at Esports Royale EN or at Esports Royale on Twitter. And of course, myself and Eric. There are open qualifiers for events all the time. And if you believe you're this good, this has a $10,000 prize pool, a $5,000 grand prize. Dude, come in, win a bunch, and start stacking the money, or find out that you're not as good as the #1 player in the world. Those are the 2 options. Probably the latter, but I'd be happy to be wrong, right? I would love to see new faces in the community and competing, and there might be some hidden gems. That's how, I mean, no one starts at the top, but usually if you say, oh, I can beat all these guys, it doesn't really end up all that well. Yeah. From previous experiences. You know what, and I am going to, at the break after this matchup, I will give you 2 Twitter accounts to follow that are great places for you to find open qualifiers, actually 3 of them, for tournaments that are happening all the time, so you can go ahead and compete in Clash Royale and be part of these $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 prize pools that are regularly in the scene. And, you're like, hey, Rich, there's a game going on. There was a game going on. Mohammed Light with an absolute stomp out. Ian waves the white flag. Goes to the elimination bracket, but so far it's the 4 favorites moving on, and we're going to have
The next 3 matches are going to be literally top 10 world-class level matches.
Yeah, and speaking to the point about Rich, there's a game going on. The game ended with the lightning on the bridge. That was over. After that, he already taken 1,500 damage, was down 4 elixir, and Mo went with an elixir advantage and a matchup advantage. Good luck. So that game was over a long time ago, and like you said, this is top 10 talent in the world, all going at each other in the next 3 matches. This is like, you cannot, if you're running a tournament and you're praying for matchups, it's these. This is the best possible outcome for the spectator, for any fan of Clash Royale, to have Mo and Lucas and Werro versus Wallace all going head to head.
And we're going to be very excited for it. Of course, 4 of the top players on the planet competing in our upper bracket. We'll be back with that in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a short break and come back with the first of our upper bracket semifinals. Welcome back, everybody. Royale Masters, the last 3 matches of our upper bracket, our winners bracket, coming your way in a moment. We're down to 4 of the best players in the world. Of course, we are back again tomorrow for the culmination of this event where we'll have our elimination gauntlet. But today, we have 3 more matches. One of these 4 players will guarantee themselves a spot in our $5,000 grand final tomorrow.
I don't even know who to pick anymore, Rich. Last weekend, I was like, yeah, Wallace is going to win. And then, like, I can't even say Wallace is going to win, Mo is going to win. Let's look at the bracket just so, like, you understand my frustrations here. I usually like to make bold predictions, but there's no such thing as a bold prediction. Yeah, you know what? I'm going Wallace. I'm going Wallace.
Oh, wow.
And I could, my pick could be gone in the first match right here. Like, I could have, go Mo or Lucas and held off for a little bit longer, but I'm going Wallace.
Wallace is the dark horse pick here, and let's see if he can beat Werro. Of course, Wallace, the more accomplished competitive player between these two, Werro. And that's a big debate here, Eric, between whether your former player, Igor, is the #1 ladder player of all time, or this man, Werro, is the #1 ladder player of all time.
I think after this last season, I have to give it to Anaban, actually.
Wow.
I think he's won 5 seasons this year.
It's
it doesn't make any sense that someone could be that good at ladder. I do think that, like, Igor has had very impressive wins to the point where, like, he should be there. And I think consistency based, it's Werro, right? Consistency based, a year and a half, 2 years of every single season, top 5, yeah, gets you, a top 3. But I think the other 2, just based on winning seasons, has to be Anaban and Igor. And after the past 3 seasons, where I think Anaban has won 2 of them, I don't know if he won 3 in a row or 2 in a row. He surpassed Igor, and it hurts me to say, because Igor is like a little brother to me, right? I brought him in before he couldn't even play the first 4 months that he was there, because CRL was 16 years or older, and so we had to wait. We played this season with basically 3 players until he got there, and he is insane, and I would not be a world champion without him. I will say that very clearly. I think we all know that in the debut, but I mean, Werro is phenomenal.
5-1 in his debut at World Finals was Igor, with a great King of the Hill 3-0 sweep against OG and Entis, and then, of course, his brilliant 1v1 performance against Javi Catorze, I believe it was, in the match against SK.
Yeah.
So, obviously a great player, but Werro right now, the man playing up against Wallace, and this is an interesting matchup here. P.E.K.K.A Bridge Spam on one side against the Royal Hogs, the Recruits Pigs, with the Golden Knight on both sides of the board.
Yeah, both sides of the board have the Golden Knight, but I think it favors Werro a little bit more, in the sense that without a Golden Knight here, you are struggling big time against this matchup. The fact that you're able to add a lot more pressure without having to use the P.E.K.K.A and possibly force out the Recruits as well makes it a lot better of a matchup than it should be on paper. And then obviously having the arrows, the Flying Machine actually goes in front of the Recruits, which only gets better for him. And man, I mean, Wallace, you're playing against Werro with bridge spam. Don't feel bad. It really comes down to that.
We have not seen a big spell yet from Wallace, assuming it's not Fireball, given that given the penetration of this situation. Here we go. Pigs to the left-hand side, Golden Knight to the right-hand side, and there's the Fireball from Werro one more time. And here we go into the final 30. That's good damage, though, for Wallace, 1756 against the 1052 of his bottom right-hand tower.
The problem here is that there is more spell value on Werro's side than there is on Wallace's side, because he does have the arrows. So even if this is a poison, a fireball, whatever it is, he has Barb Barrel. So he only has 1 direct damage spell onto tower. That is actually going to get in front of the P.E.K.K.A, unfortunately for him. Maybe we see a dash here. Yeah. And that is a great dash out of him.
And we do finally see the Fireball very late game here out of Wallace. Fireball late here from Werro on the backside. So things getting tired, 1052 to 1547. Wallace waited a long time to play that Fireball against those Magic Archers.
Yeah, and I like what we're seeing here out of Werro. He is just focusing on defense right now. That Magic Archer is gonna get a ton of value, and at least it forces out that he does have Fireball and Cycle again. Yes, it forces out the Fireball from him, so now he can play that bridge spam more aggressively. He doesn't have to worry about a Fireball coming out defensively. That Magic Archer did its job, and here we go. Bridge spam in full force. If there's anyone that knows when to play it, it is definitely him. This Golden Knight could... Ooh, that dash. If he waited on that dash just a little bit, it feels like he could have got it directly onto tower.
Pigs, split pigs now. They won't be able to do enough, though. 9:41 the mark on the left-hand side. Golden Knight will not be able to dash far enough. GG, well played. And Wallace loses game number 1 to Werro, playing the deck that made him Werro.
I picked Wallace, and now I feel bad. And I don't know. I mean, my prediction could literally last 2 games. Good news for Wallace. Bridge spam is out.
Yep.
Is it truly out? No. I wanted to say that just so I feel better, because bridge spam with Ram Rider is still in, and Mega Knight, and the one that he likes to use, which is without Mega Knight, is also still in, and he could combo it with, you know, the Archer Queen and the Bandit and all of that. So technically this one is out, but the Battle Ram is not the strongest bridge spam in the game right now. It is the Ram Rider one, so he still has his best deck available to him.
But how predictable is Ram Rider with Lightning in game number 2 right now? I mean, we're talking about it. You have to imagine that Wallace is thinking that's a possibility. At this point, do you build a deck that counters Ram Rider Lightning and does more? Is that the move here from Wallace?
It's a very risky move, because Werro is known for his bridge spam, but he's also really good with other cycle decks as well. He just has this understanding of the game. He's mechanically at the top of the game, as well as Mo and Lucas. So if you go so far into, you know, I'm gonna run Lightning and something like that, and then he comes at you with a minor quick cycle deck, you're basically left with nothing. So Wallace has to be very careful in trying to snipe out that deck. And even if you do, he can still beat you with it. He has played against people like Anaban and Igor, like we've spoken about, that not only match up on ladder with him, but they snipe him on ladder, and he still manages to win. And those snipes are no joke. They're not competitive snipes. The Anaban snipes are like, I'm going to put 8 cards that make no sense together, and that is exactly what I'm going to play just against you. And if I'm Wallace, I just focus on myself right now. I put out the best deck that I have with the cards. I have every card available to me. I know there's no Pekka on the other side. There's no Golden Knight. Focus on yourself. Wallace is still a world-class player. He, in my eyes, is a top 10 player coming into World Finals. So you can't give too much credit to your opponent. You have to have respect on your own game as well.
And I think when you talk about that, Wallace may be a bit underrated, as he's always kind of been around some of the flashier players. Of course, teammates with Lucas on Pain Gaming. You know, Brazil has both Lucas and Samuel Basoto as guys who stand out there. But keep in mind, this is a guy who won the All-Stars Cup at the end of the 2020 year, right? And that was a packed championship in which Wallace played brilliantly. Of course, carried Pain Gaming at CRO World Finals against Nova Esports. Has been great here as well, and of course, he is a World Finals contender this year for CRL. So Wallace, certainly no joke. We'll see what he has in store for Werro as we go into game number 2.
And it does not look like we're going to get bridge spam here out of Werro, just because that Dark Prince is usually not a bridge spam type of card. It's weird to say it, right? Like a card that, you know, charges up and runs at you is not a bridge spam deck card, but it just doesn't seem to work out. It looks like we're going to get an RG deck here from Werro. A nice connection to start off the game from Wallace. It's not huge damage, but compared to last game, it's already a lead, and you got to be feeling, pretty good.
This is actually, I think this is a great matchup. This looks like Wallace is running for the 3rd time we're seeing it today. That minor, it's that minor poison Golden Knight. So you have the minor, the log, and of course the delivery. If Werro is running the princess, or running the Archer Queen, this is a pretty solid matchup here for Wallace from top to bottom.
Yeah, I think he's in a good position. He has to be careful with the RGs in the back, though. The poison in general is going to take a lot of time to deal with everything, so that is a big flaw in this deck. If it was more of a fireball deck from Wallace, it would be a lot easier to defend. The delivery is a great tool as well, but he does have to be careful in double elixir, possibly triple elixir, when things start piling on. The poison is just not effective enough.
And here we go. Wallace is behind 3 Elixir, so let's see if Werro presses that advantage, cycles the Electro Spirit here, and this will be an interesting one too, because when Wallace tries to push opposite lane or tries to support bats, he has 2 problems. He has both the Mother Witch and the Electro Spirit, so let's see how he figures out the mathematics here. He might log the middle. Oh! Wow!
Yeah.
The Golden Knight stays alive, and this tower gets absolutely shredded. Wallace takes control of game number 2.
The fisherman log and everything on the bridge was just way too much of an overplay. He was trying to save the Mother Witch, create a counter push by getting the Mother Witch on the bats, and you cannot do that. He tunnel visioned himself on getting value of that Mother Witch. As soon as I saw that go down, that's why I said that's it. There was no way he was defending the dash along with the bats when the miner was already there. A beautiful recognition of that from Wallace. It's a lot easier for me to recognize it than it is for him, but this is a last-ditch effort that maybe could pay off.
Delivery plus log plus Tesla.
It.
That's a GG. That's a well played. Poison it out. And Wallace, good matchup. Great recognition of a big important moment.
Yeah, that was very well played out of him. It was more of, I'm going to capitalize on a mistake, but you still have to recognize that in the moment and get the most out of it. And it is very difficult to do when you're down 0-1 and you're in this situation. It is a lot easier for me to call out knowing the game and everything about it, just with no pressure sitting here in the booth with you, relax. Wallace really proving that, he is able to adapt on the fly, and that was a beautiful push. We're going to game 3, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean that's what you want from all of these matchups remaining, right? We want 3 games from Werro and Wallace. We want that from Lucas and Mo. I mean, could someone go do the math of how many games Lucas and Mo have played in competitive Clash Royale this year? It has to be more than almost anybody. And then of course the championship for this winners bracket, you want to see that full 3 as much as possible. And to answer a question, just to remind people who are new here, and whoever was asking the question in the chat, I think it was Jams214 and some other numbers, asking, is this dual format? This is a modified version of dual format here at Royale Masters. It's a dual format version where you lose cards that you win with. So if you win with a deck, those cards are no longer available, but if you lose with a deck, those cards you can repeat. So a little bit of a tweak here from the standard dual format we've seen in CRL. So to put this in context, game number 1, it was Werro winning with a bridge spam variant, P.E.K.K.A, Golden Knight, Fireball, Arrows, E-Wiz. Those are all out for him, no longer available. Game number 2, we just saw Wallace win with that minor Golden Knight control deck. Poison, Log, and Delivery all out for him. So, interesting thing to note here, the only spells out on both sides. On one side for Wallace, it's going to be the Poison, Delivery, and Log. And for Werro, it's Fireball and Arrows.
I wouldn't be surprised to see lightning come out of these players in this last game. Possibly a poison from Werro, but I see more lightning as the viable option, because the champ that is still left is that Archer Queen. No one's really gonna shy away from using it. But I am very surprised, and I guess pleasantly surprised, that the Golden Knight is actually what's setting the standard today. It's not the Archer Queen. And look, the Archer Queen is so strong and a phenomenal card, but if the Golden Knight becomes the meta, I'm all for it. That is a lot more fun to cast. It is a lot more fun to watch. So I'm very pleasantly surprised. I thought we were just going to see Archer Queen after Archer Queen after Archer Queen, and these have been so much fun to watch.
Well, it's, you take a look at the 4 Elixir versus 5 Elixir. And how different that is. And, it seems like such a small difference, but 5 Elixir for a ranged troop is kind of outside of the norm, right? What's the other 5 Elixir ranged troop? The Wizard. The Wizard is not meta beyond 4,500 trophies, right? So,
and Bag.
Yeah, and Bag, and Agony King, and like 5 people who play Wizard, right? There are people who throw it out there, but the 5 Elixir is the one hindrance to the Archer Queen that is very important to keep in mind.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, it makes sense in the sense that, like, if you lower that and with the ability, it can basically take out a P.E.K.K.A. if placed right. It would be way too powerful. You can't lower it, but what you're saying makes sense. Like, it's a big investment of your elixir for something that could just go ahead and get delivered and logged at any time, right? And he's still up, or he's even, but in the sense of you wasted something that you really need to get on offense, while on the other hand, it was just a regular defense. I can go on offense now. It makes sense. And also the fact that, a good dash from the Golden Knight is direct damage to tower. Archer Queen is not.
I see someone mentioning the Executioner, right? So Wizard and Executioner are the other two 5 elixir range troops, both of which are not competitively viable whatsoever.
Yeah.
They stop at, someone saying up to 6,000. Yeah, up to around 6K you'll see Wizard. You don't see Exegeeks outside of the sort of the Venom Hogexy NATO construction. So yeah, it is an interesting thing we're seeing develop here competitively. I'm very curious to see what Archer Queen looks like at World Finals come December.
Yeah, I think obviously the Archer Queen is a little bit different just because, the invisibility thing. But like you said, in general, you can see it at 6K. And you can also see a tower down here for Wallace. And there is this tendency that every time someone thinks they're going to go up against Archer Queen or Lightning, the opponent pulls out Lava. It seems like it happens every single time.
Well, you look at one deck that is going to do better against those counter Archer Queen decks, and maybe feels like Lava. Now look, Lava Miner Guards has been super popular even before Champions came out, so this is a deck people know that also might be a good counterplay when people are expecting Archer Queen for Game 3.
It really could be. I think Lava is going to be a great way to counter the Champions in general. I think this deck right here, even the Golden Knight would struggle against, because you have that cage and you have the guards. It's not just one or the other. So this is a very strong deck in general against the Champions, and I think it is a very smart play out of Werro. But he could still do a ton of damage here, Wallace, with a good set of hogs timed right. You could get these towers down, and that's going to be some chip damage on the right as well for him.
Some serious chip damage. That's going to put it within spell range here.
Yeah.
Not quite within fireball range, which is, I believe, what Wallace is most likely running here. But certainly, and a bad, oh no, misclick from Wallace, and that might be the game right here as Lava comes in the pocket. Oh no, what a way to go down.
That is rough. That is very rough. He still has to spend the fireball on offense at some point, so this is going to be a ton of damage here as well. He's going to get it into that, that range where it's just not able to bring it back. He's going to have to Hoggies here on the left. You cannot just allow this to go, and I wouldn't have even split Hoggies. I guess he got the benefit of that cage bringing them all together.
Wow.
But it really was not necessary to split, and he might actually take this now.
The snowball betrays Werro and pushes the recruits right into the tower. So here we go, 762 to 245. Fireball not enough here for Wallace, but he's in a good spot.
The flying machine's on. That's it. It's game over. Wallace wins. I cannot believe. So it wasn't even only the snowball betrayal. Wallace made a wrong decision. He put the Hoggies in the middle when that right-hand side tower was going to go down. No matter what, the cage just was in range to pull all 4 Hoggies. It pulls them all to the left. I don't know what happened at the end of that game.
That was complete and utter insanity. Nothing other than that to say about that one. Wallace, and we've been talking about this a lot. Lately, Wallace has been pulling rabbits out of hats like he's on stage in Vegas. This dude's pulling off magic, and the magic continues here for the Brazilian.
I wish we had like a short reel of like last weekend's Wallace ending of matches. That would have been so funny to play right now, because this just adds on directly to that. Everything from last weekend and this finish right here has been Wallace. It is come from behind, 8 HP win, 20 HP win, matches where he messed up and then catches a break and then comes back. It doesn't seem like he's ever won the easy way other than that first match he played today, but very on brand for him.
Yeah, and that's the best way to put it. Very on brand. Wallace just steals victory from the jaws of defeat. So let's take a look at the bracket and see Wallace moving into our upper bracket, our winner's bracket final, where he'll face the winner of Lucas and Mo Light, Werro, does get the advantage of having moved on in this double elimination bracket, so he does await the winner of Ian and Magma tomorrow in the elimination gauntlet. But for now, at least, Wallace ahead and with a chance to secure himself a spot in the championship for this weekend. One more win for Wallace, and he guarantees himself at least 2.5K and a shot at $5,000.
That is one heck of a day. When you guarantee yourself that much money, and on top of it, there is so much more riding on it. There is the confidence going into World Finals. You are playing, usually when you win tournaments leading up to World Finals, it makes you feel good. But these are your direct opponents in the World Finals. This is like, I just beat you all, and we're 2 weeks away from World Finals. So the last memory you have of me is me beating you, right? So I mean, that is a huge thing for him, and $5,000 coupled with that could be the best weekend for Wallace. I think he needs it more than Lucas and Mo. Lucas and Mo don't need any more confidence. They beat everyone throughout the year. Like you said, they probably played each other so much that if they had girlfriends, their girlfriends would be worried at how much they spend time not only in practice but tournaments and everything. They have played each other 7 million times this year.
Yeah. No, they've been around a lot, and of course, both have won already a minimum $40,000 just from CRL alone. Then you add in what they've done in things like right now, I think both are still in the CMG Cup, or where you look at all the different Revel tournaments this year. My guess is if you look at prize pool winnings alone between Lucas and Wallace, each of them are getting around between 60,000 and 100K so far this year. I'd love to see the actual numbers for Mo with what he's done, but both these guys are stacking checks. So, of course, the big check upcoming in CRL World Finals, that $200,000 grand prize. But right now, it's the 5K in front of them. And one of them is going to take a pretty big shot here as they get dropped down into the elimination gauntlet.
Yeah, I think obviously both of these players could fight through the lower bracket. If I'm not mistaken, Mo actually fought through the lower bracket in a monthly final that he won. So it's still completely possible if you're a fan of Lucas or you're a fan of Mo, that if they lose now, you don't have to be worried. They still could make it to the final. Obviously, it's not the position you want them to be in, but these are two very strong mentally players as well, that could make that lower bracket run. And 5,000, I mean, look, they have had a very successful year, like you said, already from CRL alone, 40,000. But when you add another 5,000, that is a big deal, especially like, you know, you want to be that. There's just something to it. You want to be the highest earner for the year. You just do. You want to win worlds, but you also want to be that highest earner because you can, in your mind, it's like, I did it. I was the #1 earner for this year, and it sets you up for a lot of success in the future, right? It's not just I won $20,000 and I was the best. No, it's this year I won $300,000 playing Clash Royale.
Interesting deck here from Mo to open things up, running Miner Goblin Hut, whereas Lucas looking a lot like he's running Royal Giant here. I see some questions. Esperado saying, when will be the CRL Finals? December 3rd through 5th. I'll go ahead and drop you guys a series of links you can go ahead and follow on Twitter, both to learn about competing in CRL Esports, CR Esports, and of course, also the Esports Royale EN is the home of Clash Royale Esports. You can find all your CRL information there. Of course, both these players, Mo and Lucas, you have the #1 and #2 seed from CRL World Finals right here in front of you in this best of 3.
Absolutely, and a great start from both of them. They both took damage, but both defenses were pretty on point. I think they could have been a lot of damage coming in from their opponent. He does not have lightning in cycle. He had to use it defensively once he saw that Archer Queen with the Mega Knight, so that allows him to defend with absolutely no hits here. Log is also out of cycle. Now he's back to it after that Mother Witch, and I mean, I feel like this match is going to go into a triple elixir, like full-on battle from what we're seeing.
Log does kind of undercut the Mother Witch's argument there, so still defended well. Mother Witch will put some damage opposite direction, but at the moment, it is Mo with this interesting minor, looks like I don't think that last spell is going to be a win condition, so interesting minor control variant out of the Prince of Egypt.
Yeah, I think we saw this or something very similar to this last weekend. Not 100% sure, but it is definitely not your average type of deck. Nice invisibility used there, not to get damage, but to avoid it getting pulled by that Fisherman. The Fisherman still should get dealt with somewhat, because that is a ton of damage onto tower.
That's quite a lot. Maybe an underrated amount of damage from that Fisherman. 20-41 on the right-hand side, and doubling down right now is Lucas. Royal Giant at the bridge. Cage not available, and Fisherman will support here with a pull-off on the Dark Prince.
Yeah, and that is very big for Lucas. In the sense that when you play RG, if you can get an RG in the back and then you can cycle all the way to the next one, he actually has the ability to play the split lane without really sacrificing the fact that I have a lot more damage on one tower than the other. And that's what the Fisherman opened up for him there. He can do these split lanes with the RGs, and actually each one is of equal value to him.
Mother Witch to the right-hand side, poison in response from Mohammed Light, who is forced to switch the conversation to the right-hand lane, has to play defense against these nasty pushes, so he's been forced to give up the damage he's been putting on that left-hand tower.
Yeah, and that was a beautiful play from Lucas. This is a great sequence for him. I think he is winning the sequence battle right now when it comes to, he got him to switch lanes. He's uncomfortable. He's having to over-defend as well. He had to put that Mega Knight as well as the Dark Prince and a Mega Minion just to fend it off, and he gave up some lightning value. So you're going to see invisibility pulled here on the Archer Queen most likely. There it is, and that Dark Prince is gone, but it's still not enough to, he's still going to be down after this.
One thing to keep in mind here about the Archer Queen is, without question, everyone's playing getting so many reps against the Archer Queen. So a card that felt so undefendable for such a long time, we're seeing more creative ways of keeping... People are almost defending the Archer Queen like they defend an Expo, by just making sure there's something between her and the tower at all times.
Yeah, that's how you have to do it. I think early on, the reason why it was so difficult for people to, really defend is that you never want to over-defend. It's just the way Clash works. In your brain, you're saying, I'm over-defending, but the more you play against Archer Queen, the more you're okay with, it's going to take out some troops of mine. I just have to accept it, but the important thing is that it doesn't get onto tower.
Mother Witch does finally go down. 17 seconds left. 656 to 1178. Archer Queen minor push and just a clean lightning only on that AQ. Poison ticking away left-hand side won't be enough. Mo calling the good game. Can't get back to minor in time. GG, well played. Game number 1 goes to Lucas in what might be, we've talked about best years in Clash Royale history from certain players. This might be one of the best rivalries in all of Clash Royale history.
Individual rivalries, I think it is. I think there's never been two people that are truly this close, in my opinion, that have played this many times, right? Because if you put LCOP's skill level in 2017 versus Surge's, they were really similar. They were both very, very good players, but they wouldn't play against each other all that often. It was very separate regions. Here you have two players that are going at each other every month in 2 to 3 different tournaments, which makes that rivalry a lot better. Obviously, I would have loved to see a little bit more of like an actual rivalry. They're just too good of friends to get at that level, and it seems more like they support each other over everything, which is also really cool. But yeah, this has to be the individual rivalries. This probably is the best one we've seen.
All right, so let's talk about top rivalries, right? So obviously Mohammed Light and Lucas up there. You have to put Surgical Goblin and Morton as a top all-time rivalry as well. Them going back and forth throughout 2019 was a great one. Are there any other major head-to-head rivalries that stand out to you in the history of Clash Royale?
I don't see it. I'm trying to think all the way back to 2016, right, with like the old CMC days and all of that. I think a rivalry that's not a real rivalry other than the fans that created it in their heads was that 2020 Mugi versus Ruben, right? It was that, like, who is the better player? Who is actually going to match up better against the other? And we know the answer to that now. Ruben clearly dominated that World Finals. But I think that's the only one that pops into my mind. It wasn't a rivalry that they really forced or played a ton against each other. But it seems like that whole year, the topic of conversation was who is better, Mugi or Ruben?
And yes, of course, we didn't get an answer to that one. Mugi played very well in World Finals. Ruben walked away with a championship. So
yeah,
that was maybe a definitive answer to that one at that moment. And someone was earlier asking about where's the Hogs. Well, here you go. Hog EQ versus Hog EQ between Lucas and Mo.
Yeah, and this is something that we've seen a lot, right? When Mo plays against Viper or Lucas against Basoto, we see a lot of the same mentality And this is where I think World is gonna be the difference maker. You're gonna have to completely catch this person off guard. When you play against someone so much, it's the person that comes out with surprises that wins. Right now, you're just gonna see a very close match, or we're probably gonna see 1 or 2 mistakes out of someone, and that's gonna be the difference maker. But that is a ton of damage on Lucas's tower, by the way.
Interesting thing to note here, Lucas running Hog EQ with guards. Talk to me about why you're seeing guards in this deck.
Golden Knight, possibly just waiting on a lot of bridge spam right now, a lot of miner being played and Golden Knight, and guards is one of the best counters to it. You place them in the middle, you guarantee that it's not going to dash onto your tower, and it goes down to them as well. So maybe that was the thinking of, I know Mo really likes Golden Knight, so I'm just going to protect myself against that.
Now, what about guards versus Archer Queen? I haven't tried that interaction much, but it does seem like it would make sense. 3 troops plus shields could be good against Archer Queen.
Yeah, I think it's solid. I think the Archer Queen actually takes them all out by the time invisibility is gone. So I'm pretty sure it's a 1-shot shield and then 1-shot on the guard as well. I would have to try that out a little bit more, but at the end of the day, you don't need to take the Archer Queen out. What you need to do is stall that ability. Get her to go back to normal, because the damage onto tower is a lot less without that ability, and it's a lot easier to defend as well. So the guards just overall could make a comeback in general to the meta.
And you're seeing delivery guards here. No hog shot, EQ damage in left-hand side, 940 to 1676. And you're seeing one thing about this matchup to keep an eye on is both these guys know these interactions so well. You talk about top-tier play, you talk about great micro. Part of that is just having that Rolodex, that encyclopedia of interactions in your brain. And we've seen a lot of those played out already in some of the micro.
Yeah, I mean, Mo is, as I was about to say that, I was going to say Mo is dominating right now, but that push, the guards pushed it a little bit to the right, forced it over to that Tesla. Such a smart play there out of Lucas. And now he's going to have to defend this. He does not have a lot of elixir. He's going to have to Tesla up high, but the Valk is actually getting damage onto that as well. And this Firecracker, he's going to try and get some splash, but I think he's too far back, and it does not hit tower.
Now you talk about it, we were just talking about knowing interactions and micro, and there you saw it, the Spirit Guard's push on the Hog to get it into that Tesla. So absolutely great play here by Lucas, who's down but not out here in game number 2, 730 to 1148, and now it's the high Hog here. Tesla played, I guess, in safe range there.
Yeah, the Skellies actually go down before, and now it's an Earthquake battle, but Lucas can only win this if he gets a Hog hit, and that was perfect placement there. But I don't know if you noticed on the sequence before the play from Lucas where he expected the Firecracker, and yeah, that was
oh my gosh, the pre-fires, the pre-log, the like what?
They've been predicting each other all match. That's what I was gonna get to. There was a Firecracker that was about to be put down to take off the guards from Lucas, and he predicted it with the Valk that then got predicted with the log, and it was just like a sequence of brilliant minds. And I mean, can we make this a best of 7?
Please. Hey, look, this version of the Royale Masters duel format totally would work with BO5s. And this is where I want to see that BO5, right?
Yeah.
Since you don't lose the cards every game, there's plenty of deck pool. You lose the same number of cards for a full 5-game set as you do in a traditional duel format 3-game set. So, man, I would love to do it.
That was such a... It's crazy that someone lost that match.
That's the best way to put it.
It really is. You put anyone in front of these two and give them that same match, they both win every time with how they played. The fact of the matter is that this is number 1 and number 2 seed in World Finals for a reason, and you see it. And no, I'm not trying to throw any disrespect at, you know, the gameplay we saw from Werro or from Wallace, but I just think this gameplay is still on another level.
All right, here we go, folks. Game number 3, Lucas and Mo Light. You've seen it. Let's get your votes in the chat right now. Who's calling Lucas for game number 3? Who's calling Mohammed Light? Let's go ahead and see what you guys think as we go ahead and do a little quick recap here on the decks from those first 2 games. Hold on, taking a moment for all the stuff to load up here. Of course, we just saw Hog EQ win for Mohammed Light, so obviously all of that out on his side. And game number 1 for Lucas, let me just go ahead and bring it up because I don't remember it. Maybe you remember the deck, Eric, from game number 1.
It was the RG deck, right?
Yeah, RG Lightning, that's right. So, This is interesting. We have not seen... We saw Mohammed run Archer Queen in game number 1 and lose against RG Lightning. Game number 2, he switches to Hog EQ. Do you think that Mo and Julesy cook up going back to Archer Queen again in game number 3, knowing that Lightning's out?
Okay. My mind says yes, but tendencies in this tournament tell me some sort of lava. Like, I don't know. Every time I think Archer Queen, lava ends up coming out. So I'm going to go with lava and maybe a lava guards version with that cage sort of, you know, really strong against the Golden Knight, really strong against the Archer Queen as well. That type of deck, I think, is a good option for either one of these players. It doesn't even have to be, you know, Lucas lost, so guards are still available to him. Tesla is still available to him, as opposed to Mo does not have that Tesla. So he could play a weird variation of lava that just matches up better against Mo's playstyle with a lava Tesla if you want, or a lava cage, or with those guards. Just change it up. This is someone that knows everything about what you like to play, both of these players. Try to get the edge in shaking it up a little bit. It doesn't have to be the full archetype, but make a couple of changes.
Here we go. Game number 3 between the top 2 players in the world, and it's Mo running minor wall breakers, it looks like, and Lucas cage fire spirit. I'm trying to think, and it is Royal Hawks.
Yeah, so he's right. Oh, bomb tower.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Bomb tower variant. You don't see a ton of that.
We're in for a good one. Whenever they both have counters to each other, that's when, like, you get beautiful NATO there as well from Mo. And
come on, come on. This is what you want to see between these two. Does he pop it? And he does. Knight to pick up. So you see a nice, nice clean pickup and will prevent all the damage. So at the moment, Mohammed Light in the lead, 22-79, as the first minute of gameplay passes. I'm seeing in the chat tons of votes each way. A lot for Lucas, a lot for Mohammed Light. Winner will go on and face Wallace in our final match of the day in a moment. And yeah.
Julesy, stop. Let us enjoy it.
But this isn't even an off-meta deck. This is, you know, this is
just a great pick.
This is just a great pick. This was the most popular version of minor wall breakers with Magic Archer before Bomb Tower got nerfed and Tesla became the meta. But this is a long-standing meta deck, just a great pick. Speaks to Mohammed Light's strengths and matches up great here against Pigs.
Bomb Tower or Fireball, he's always going to have one or the other available to him. That placement does allow one Hoggy to go through, but it's not that big of a worry. He has a Miner in his hand at any time. He does have Fireball as well, and he cycles just as quickly, right? You're usually worried about that Earthquake cycle, but when you're looking at Mo's deck, he cycles just as fast. He was able to bait out the delivery on the left-hand side, which forces the cage on the right. It doesn't really work all that bad because he is going to be able to use that Goblin to take care of that, and a Knight should come here on the left. Wow, he
Bomb Tower.
Bomb Tower.
So does he split Pigs here? And yes, he does, although Bomb Tower does get one shot. Splits Pigs maybe a half step early, but the Brawler's still alive. The NATO doesn't do its job, and just like that, Lucas takes the lead as we go into the final 30 seconds.
Yeah, this is going to be one heck of a finish here, and that Miner should always get a little bit of chip damage. This Archer Queen, nice pull there of the ability, going to take care of absolutely everything. That Magic Archer could have got very dangerous. It did get one hit on tower, if I'm not mistaken.
It did, as at the very end there, 1391 now to just around. Oh, and there you go. Lucas gets the lead back here. NATO does activate King Tower, but at this stage, at what cost? And at this stage, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, he took so much damage there. I think it might have even just been better to pull that back and defend it. Yeah, it's going to help you out, but at the same time, you just lost the lead by 300. It's not like it was a 200, 150 thing. That is a major difference. You're going to have to Fireball. This Magic Archer is going to go down to that Archer Queen as well. No, it's not.
No connection from the Wall Breakers. Nice Skeletons played there by Lucas. And still very, very tight. 90 seconds left. This Miner will get some damage on tower. Nope. Picked up by the Skeletons plus Fire Spirit. One swing in, plus some Magic Archer damage. The delivery. Unbelievable. 8:15 on the top right-hand side, and lead goes back again. The lead changes, flying back and forth as we approach our final minute.
that magic archer getting so much value. I would like to see him play a miner in the front at this point. He's gonna have to defend here. Does he have anything for it? Yes, the knight goes in. I would like to see a miner in the front just to try and bait out some magic archer damage, and that is very tough. He is going to be able to earthquake this, get a ton of value. Fireball needs to come in here. He doesn't have an option.
Fire Spirit behind just for pressure, forces out the response, so there's the 2 elixir response.
Miner's
Spears
not
come down.
Uh-oh.
Nice NATO out of Mohammed Light. EQ and Hogs on the left-hand side, 119
Wait.
top right-hand side. Does Fireball win it? Fireball doesn't win it! Lucas wins it, beats the Fireball out by a second, and that's why you love seeing these two guys go head-to-head.
Oh my.
Oh my word, clip that on Twitch, please clip that. Unbelievable.
I can't believe that ending. It could not get closer. It all really came down to Mo's NATO. You saw that NATO on offense. It left him without enough elixir for the bomb tower up high, and Lucas just at that point you put the phone down and you just pray. That is all you can do. You just pray that your hoggies get an adrenaline rush and they start headbutting that tower, because you have no other shot at winning. That fireball was like, I have like bad memories of the fireball from against Complexity in 2019, I believe, 2018 CRLNA, where the fireball somehow didn't connect on our end and connected on the other, and we lost by like no HP. That was the same thing. I don't know how that fireball didn't make it.
That was absolutely crazy. One Heisenberg in the Twitch chat saying, if 2021 doesn't end with a Lucas versus Momo final in CRL,
We were
cancel
wrong.
the year.
Yeah, we were wrong.
And
100%.
yeah, and who knows? There's 32 players. They both have to get through that crazy best of single elimination first round. But man, if you've watched competitive Clash Royale this year, you've had a treat of watching two guys at the top of their game, playing some of the best Clash Royale ever, going head-to-head over and over and over again, and it never fails to show up.
It is. I mean, it's incredible. As someone that's been in the scene for as long as I have, and like I've watched the best players, I competed with them, I've coached them. It is crazy to me how every time I watch these two players go at it, it is never like, okay, this person takes a quick 2-0, or like today was his day. No, it is always high level from both of them, consistently top level clash, and it is so hard to do that time after time after time. Lucas takes it this time. I would love to see not only how many times they played this year, but the record against each other this year in tournaments and just like monthly qualifiers and everything. I would like to see, I feel like it has to be even. I genuinely
Pretty darn close. Pretty darn close. I bet you Julesy has it written down somewhere. He has quite the compendium of... Yeah, right? He has that and every shade tweet ever sent written down there as well. We'll take a look at all the results in action in a little bit, but first we're gonna take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We're back in just a few minutes with the winners bracket finale. It's gonna be Wallace against Lucas, former teammates, countrymen, going head to head to see who will guarantee themselves a spot in that $5,000 grand final. Don't go anywhere.
Fly around like paper planes, they never know where we will fall. No
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our final matchup on this Saturday, the first day of our two-part championship weekend here at Royale Masters. We started with 8. We still have 8. They are in the elimination bracket, all but 2. We're down to our last 2 in the upper bracket with the life to give on one side. You have Wallace, a very talented player, world-class level player, and maybe the single luckiest human being to ever pick up a phone. And on the other side of it, you have Lucas, who's the current number 2 player in the world, just put on an absolute banger of a matchup against the current number 1 in Mohammed Light. Of course, these two guys, Eric, know each other very well. Lucas and Wallace, teammates, countrymen, friends with a long history.
Yeah, we spoke about how well Mo and Lucas know each other. This is the same level. I think Wallace looked at Lucas as a mentor in his rookie season. I learned a lot from him as well. Literally, you had Lucas as the best ever from Brazil, in my opinion, since day one. He did take a long break. He came back, took Wallace kind of under his wing in that very rookie team. Everyone on that team was a rookie except for Lucas. And I think he learned a lot from him, and now he's playing against him as well. Obviously, Wallace has had an amazing career since then. He's now on Tribe with, teammates with the Sandbox and Anovan. So he's no joke. And they've played on the Brazil national team together. They've played on Pain together. They've competed a ton against each other as well. And it's just more matches that, I could watch all day.
And obviously 2 top-tier players, and just as a little heads up to everybody watching right here, we're going to be a little bit delayed here for a moment because, as you might know, the CMG Cup is happening this weekend as well. So 3 of our players here on today's date have been going back and forth between that competition and this one, and we've been able to avoid this problem most of the day, but Lucas is currently, I think, just wrapping up a match over at the CMG Cup. So we're going to be, again, going back and forth, but this is our final match of the day. As soon as Lucas is ready, he'll pop over here for this best of 3 against Wallace. But we do have to delay a little bit to give Lucas time to go ahead. And that's the grind these guys are putting on, by the way, Eric. That you have a guy like Lucas who is playing in the championship weekend at the highest level in 2 competitions at the exact same time.
And I like it. I like the hustle. I like it. Back in my day, you would have a Twitter post on why I had to forfeit 1 match. And also credit to both of the tournament organizers,
yes.
Right? Before, they were also under that, you either play mine or you play the other one. Everyone seems to be working together right now, and it makes it a lot better for everyone. And also the players doing their part of, I'm going to go the extra mile and I'm going to play both of these. And it just makes it better for everyone.
Speaking of better for everyone, we don't have replay enabled officially for this weekend, but we did pull that final moment here from that Mohammed Light and Lucas matchup. Let's go ahead and take a look at the final moments of that best of 3 between the 2 top players in the world, because this was such a crazy finish.
Yeah, this was... it was incredible. Everything about it. That NATO right there is what left him with 3 elixir. The bomb tower goes down late, which allows him to really get some extra damage there. And you see that, that fireball was put in at the top left corner, which is the fastest route for the fireball. It couldn't have been any closer. I think without that NATO originally from Mo at the top right, Mo wins it. A little bit too eager to get those skellies off. I think he would have done enough damage regardless to be in fireball range. But it's tough to do it in moment. Like I always say, it is very easy for me to call it from here, for you to call it from here. It is not easy, and we know it because for a reason we can't get out of the 6,000 range of trophies, and it's because we know what we're doing up here, but when we actually have to use our hands, it's a lot more difficult.
Yeah, it's definitely a whole different ball game at that level, and of course, a photo finish there between those 2, one of many that we've seen. I think we do have a chance to look at the bracket here in a moment. We'll go ahead and take a look at that in just a second and see our final matchup, and of course, maybe get a bit of a preview here of tomorrow, because again, tomorrow we do have our elimination bracket. So let's break this elimination bracket down just a little bit. We will have Legolas versus Goku in the first match there, and then Ian versus Magma also in the elimination bracket. The winners of those 2 will move on to an unbelievable challenge, and Mohammed Light on one side and Werro on the other. Now, of course, the winners there will move on to face each other. The nice thing for Wallace and Lucas, the loser here, you go all the way to the right, that far right in the lower bracket. they get to kind of jump to the very end and have just one best of 3 to get themselves back into the championship.
Yeah, both of these players are guaranteed that top 3 spot, which is a big deal, a good amount of money, and you always want to finish in that top 3 in that podium finish. But looking at that lower left, Legolas and Goku, Ian and Magma, I think they're all very even matchups. The problem I see for them is moving on to that Mo and Werro match. Every single one of those players lost pretty badly today. And I think if you grab the best player from round 1 is probably Mo, and now you're playing him again if you win. And then Werro played phenomenal as well. And I think it's going to be really tough for any of them to move past. To me, we're going to see the same 4 that we just saw continue to move on.
It's very, very possible. Of course, we do have one wild card, I would say, in there. Of course, Legolas versus Goku. That's a tough matchup there. If this had been a year ago or a year and a half ago, I would have picked Legolas in that matchup. I do think Goku, though, is on a little bit better position right now in terms of overall gameplay.
I agree with that. I think it is a toss-up, like I said, for the most part. I think that the strongest opponent in that first round lower bracket is Ian. Yes. I think he has all the momentum with him. I think the recent accomplishments, recent gameplay, I think Ian has the best possibility of moving forward past those other 2 players as well. But in the first match, to me, it is like a 55-45 thing, leaning a little bit towards Goku from what I've seen as well. And I think deck choice is a little bit better on Goku's side as well. But we do know Legolas has the talent.
Legolas certainly talented, a great mortar player on top of all those things. And a quick note before we move on to our next match to talk about that one. We just got word that Lucas, you might have seen it in the chat, Lucas did lose against Pandora in game number 2, so has to go to a game number 3. They're in the progress of that now. So we have to wait for Lucas to finish that game 3, get back over here, get his deck ready to jump in for this winner's bracket final. So it'll be a few more minutes before we get to that matchup. Let's go to the other first round matchup for tomorrow's elimination gauntlet. And I love that term. Shout out to Tasty Bacon, the producer here, for coming up with that one before we went to show today. The other one is Magma versus Ian. And it does, as you said before, feel like Ian is the top player out of the U.S. at the moment, not counting Air Surfer, who's already in World Finals. Magma's been very good for very long, but he's had trouble breaking through. It seems like there's been maybe a slight ceiling of him breaking from being, and no disrespect, but from being maybe a B-tier player to being an A-tier player.
Yeah, it is the top of the semi-pro instead of the pro level. It's what I see it as. Has he had the moments of pro level and top tier? Absolutely. You've seen it, and I even have a memory of him, in, I don't remember what tournament it was. I don't know if it was one of the queso tournaments or something like that, where he swept us, right? He swept Team Liquid when it was preseason and we were getting things ready, and he swept us. So you definitely see it. Like, he has a talent, but it seems like he's never consistently been able to stay at the top.
Yeah, it's a hard thing making that big change, and trying to look at the math of like what makes someone turn that corner. You've seen a lot of players make that change, and it can't just be time, because there are plenty of players who put in the time and can't make that jump. What are the things that you think that turn someone, make them go? Wallace is a great example, a guy who was a top tier semi-pro who just suddenly became a pro and then a top tier pro. What are the pieces there that contribute to that? I
think there's 2 main pieces, and one is mentality and work ethic. That combo. You cannot do it without a good mentality. People that lose and get frustrated and everything, if you cannot control that, you will never be able to succeed. As well as a lot of times in the past when Wallace would lose, he wouldn't say, oh, I got a bad matchup, oh, I got unlucky. He would tweet out like, look, I did not play on my level, I should have done this, this, and this, and that shows. That is a big factor. And then on the other hand, I think it's the people you surround yourself with. That is a very big thing. Your circle and your practice circle is very different to semi-pros. There are some semi-pros that are just fortunate. You were friends with the right people. So you people like Lucas and Basoto and all of these people are the ones Wallace is training against, right? So eventually your level is going to get there. As opposed to Magma, like, it's not his fault that he is in the American circle, the USA circle, that is just not as strong as it used to be. If he was in 2016 and his practice partners were Chris and CMC and all of these players, that's the best you can get in the world. But right now, you just don't have it.
Yeah, and then that is one of those things. You talk about why are certain scenes so powerful? Why is Japan so good? As we've said many times on stream, for CRL, iron sharpens iron, right? So you wonder why a country like Japan performs so well, why a country like Brazil performs so well, why certain countries have these big rushes forward. That's a big part of it. So I think that's a really great point that you make there, Eric. And again, for those of you waiting in the chat going, where's the gameplay? We're waiting too. Lucas has 1 minute left in overtime in his CMG Cup match against Pandora. So we'll get him rushed over here and give him at least a minute to select his deck here, his first decks against Wallace.
No minute.
Yeah,
go straight in.
Yeah, just go straight in for a matchup that's going to end up being so much money. But of course, both Lucas and Wallace have the match to give. But we will have that match here very, very soon, guys. So we'll get there in just a moment. As we're waiting here, I'm going to throw these links in the chat one more time. I know a lot of you have said that you watch this gameplay. Some of you are new to Clash Royale Esports. Some of you have been around here. Clash Royale Esports going all the way back to 2016 for some players. Our co-caster, Crap, Joshua Sharon, competed in 2016. But this last year, 2020 and into 2021, has been the most open version of Clash Royale Esports ever. If you've been watching saying, I'm as good as these guys, well, guess what? Those links in the chat, let me throw them one more time. 3 great ways for you to find opportunities to compete in Clash Royale Esports. You could be right here next weekend. There have been literally millions of dollars given away this year already in Clash Royale, and 1 million more coming up now for our World Finals, and it's all open qualifier. So you have a chance. If you think you're that good, go ahead, bring it, jump into the action, and maybe next year you're stacking checks upon checks upon checks and paying all your bills just by throwing miners on tower.
Yeah, and I love the fact that before there was kind of a wall to hide behind, right? You could say I'm better than these guys, I just don't have the chance. Now that's gone. You can no longer say I'm better than these guys because, I mean, prove it, right? Everything is open. Like you said, this year, everything in Clash is open. So it is just a lot better for everyone. I like to sit on the stream and people used to say like, oh, this guy's actually bad. And then I would just pull up there like this year and I'm like, so why are you not at the top, right? Like, and I think it's great for the competitive scene. And here we go. Finals, winners bracket finals. A lot quicker than I thought it was going to go while we were waiting.
Yeah, I mean, Lucas is going from one side to the other and Wallace looking like Royal Giant and Lightning against Archer Queen. That's the moment you want.
Yeah, that is the perfect time to play that Lightning. That is what you hope for every time you run it. It still does damage against the Golden Knight, but it's not the same as the Archer Queen. This is the perfect matchup for him when you talk about spell value.
And yeah, I mean, that's going to be interesting because it now makes Lucas make decisions, right? He does not want to cycle Archer Queen behind King Tower, doesn't want to play it low. He's have to find ways to play it more aggressively or when Lightning is out of cycle.
Yeah, and that was a nice prediction there. He was predicting the Skellies. The Skellies didn't come out. It was kind of a prediction to the prediction. I think Wallace also knew that there was a snowball in that deck. And if he played Skellies, it was a risky play, so he just logged it back instead. Very nice start for both of these players, and I'm curious to see what spell Lucas is going to be running here. I think it is safe to say that... Actually, it's not even safe to say yet that it's not Lightning. We have seen a bunch of Mega Knight decks run Lightning.
Oh, there comes the poison, so let's see what happens here. And the Magic Archer, or not the Magic Archer, the Archer Queen does stay alive. Nice Fire Spirit there out of Lucas to shut that down. And Royal Giant should get 1 shot, might get 2.
Yeah, even no. Okay, the slow there saved him from another shot, and this is just going to be able to get logged back yet again, most likely, without taking any damage. I don't expect to see a snowball prediction here. It is just too risky. You want to keep that in. A nice Hoggy spawn. He's going back in again really quickly. I like this play because he knows there's no building on the side of Lucas. So everything that is on the board will be able to connect, and this should be a ton of damage between the Mother Witch and the Archer Queen.
Can the Lightning value get all the way in? And it does. Wallace with a triple threat Lightning. Lucas hates that. Mega Knight, Ram Rider, and AQ all hit by that Lightning.
That was beautiful lightning value placement, everything. It is very easy to miss by a very small margin when that Ram Rider is charging, and the Mega Knight and the Archer Queen wasn't even all that close. The Archer Queen on the left-hand side could do a ton of damage if it goes invisible in time, and those Skellies do buy him a little more time, but still some damage coming in, and a lot of troops on the right.
Good log here, and a great snowball from Lucas.
I can't believe that pulled the Ram Rider. I thought it was going to pull the Fisherman after that snowball. It pulls the Ram Rider, and it definitely bails him out a little bit. If that was not the right pull, that would have been tower at like 1,000.
1805 the mark on the right-hand side. Wallace in the lead right now, 1551 on Lucas's left tower, 1343. So options in both lanes right now for the Tribe Gaming player.
Lightning could come down here and seal the deal as well. If he can get a Archer Queen to, you know, get baited out here, he could have Lightning. The RG is on tower, though. He needs to log this back, and this is still damage onto tower from both the Mega Knight and the Ram Rider.
Nice snowball here. Mega Knight certainly dangerous. Fisherman would love not to have to Lightning here, would Wallace, and he doesn't have to. Great gameplay here from Wallace to hold on. 7:29 left on Lucas's tower as the Ram Rider gets shut down as we go into triple elixir.
Yeah, this RG gets predicted, though. A very nice pull out of him there, and this should be able to stop it fully. I don't think it should get any hits. It does not. So obviously the advantage for him in the sense of Lightning as his spell. A nice pressure here on the left-hand side. Mega Knight not in cycle, forcing out the Ram Rider as well. This Ram Rider will not be able to hold off that RG, and that's game over.
Brilliant play here by Wallace. Some really opportune lightnings, and Lucas battled in valiantly in this first one, but not quite able to overcome in game number one. And of course, we're getting word of, I'm seeing a lot of people in Twitch chat saying Lucas just went and won a nail biter over in the CMG Cup, and now he's here playing from behind against Wallace at the Royale Masters Winners Bracket Final.
Yeah, I mean, life of a pro player. That is, I mean, it is what it is. Some days are going to be tough days. You're going to have to go from here to there. I love what Lucas is doing by not, you know, missing out on one or the other. We've seen in the past, like I said before, a lot of players just forfeit one and say, you know what, this one's more important to me or whatever. He is not. He knows that this is all great practice as well for World Finals. It is a lot of money, and also valuing the both organizations that are running this tournament. And I think whether he wins or loses here, he won't really be as mad as, you know, people would expect. He obviously wants to win, but he has a life to give. That is the most important thing. No matter what, he is not eliminated. If this was an elimination match, it would be very different. You want to secure that top two, but worst case scenario, he's secured a top three.
And if we do look at the prize pool here in just a moment, we can take a look and see what Lucas and Wallace have both already guaranteed for themselves. Of course, we do have a $5,000 grand prize, but both of these guys are guaranteed a top three finish in this tournament, and third place is $1,000. So 1K takeaway from this tournament, no matter what, guaranteed, feels pretty good. And of course, they have a chance to battle their way back in to that top two, where it's a $2,500 for second place and a $5K for first place. So they're both feeling pretty good at this stage. $1,000, nice bit of weekend work here with a chance for more.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, that means that this match is worth $1,500. You win this. That is exactly the what this match is worth to both of these players. And look, Wallace one game away from making me feel like I am prediction god at this point. I just stuck with it for, you know, for the memes, I guess. I've been pulling for him for a very long time, and I mean, he's one game away from securing the finals of this tournament, this stacked bracket. Not a lot of people, I think, pick Wallace when it comes down to a bracket filled with Werro, Lucas, and Mo. But he's proving that, I mean, look, there was a little bit of luck here and there, you know, from last weekend and this weekend, but that's part of life.
Magic Archer high here for Wallace against the Goblin Hut out of Lucas. And good protection there with the Bandit to keep that Magic Archer alive a little bit longer.
Oh, no.
Oh.
It could not be a worse start for Lucas. It really could not get any worse to start off here. This is going to connect. The Magic Archer is on tower. That is 1,000 damage to start off the game.
Wow.
You're down on Elixir as well. Both of your huts are out of cycle. That was rough.
And Golden Knight in response here. So Wallace running a bridge spam variation with Golden Knight. Lucas running double spawner. And I'm going to make no comment on the craziest King Tower activation. What in the world? Golden Knight is just on one.
That makes no sense. It was on the Princess Tower and then just jumped to King Tower for some reason.
Maybe it's the tile that it hit of the Princess Tower?
It was the front right, though. It wasn't even like the back of it. Or like the full-on side. I've
never actually seen the breakdown of the exact number of tiles that it connects for the Golden Knight. I actually don't know what that is. That's one I'll have to get. Maybe, I don't know if Royale API is around. You guys probably know. What is the exact number of tiles that it is for a connection for the Golden Knight?
I am so confused. I feel like if you do that same interaction 30 times with the skellies and whatever, it connects 15 times it does and 15 times it doesn't. It is so odd to me.
1792 on the top right-hand side as we go into the final minute. Double elixir flowing. Wallace in good control here. Sluggy, first-time viewer. I'm seeing a couple people saying 6 tiles in the chat. So if you connect on that top right corner, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's within 6 tiles to the King Tower. So that inside corner of the Princess Tower, depending on where you connect, if you're in the number 3 spot, like the inside minor spot, I think that might be out of range. But if you're one lower, actually even with tower, that is within range.
Yeah, the thing is, to me, it depends on where it registered that dash, because it was in the top right corner of that King Tower, of the Princess Tower. But does it register it as the right-hand side of the corner or the left-hand side? And apparently they're registered on the right-hand side of the corner, which would put it in range. Just odd, in my opinion.
Well, I'm also counting tiles from that top inside corner, and it's also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 6 exactly. So that top inside corner might also do it. So have to go, and maybe OJ has done a video explaining exactly how every interaction works. He usually does that sort of thing.
Yeah, and both those fire spirits connected on tower, by the way. I don't know if you saw that, but both of them connecting is no good for him. And this is going to connect onto tower if he doesn't have anything here. It's forced out the Golden Knight. And that's the deal with the Archer Queen, right? It forces so much out of you. A beautiful Mega Knight there. This Furnace, I was going to say, he's going to take a lot of damage, but the Skellies reset the Golden Knight there. And he's slowly bringing it back here.
Not pulling the trigger on the Golden Knight ability, and the Archer Queen predicts the Magic Archer to continue the pressure on the left-hand side. Great play by Lucas.
Yeah, but this is a lot of pressure. The Archer Queen is going to lose that ability now. It's on the side that he doesn't care for it to be. He's going to have to dash here if he doesn't want that to connect. No, it doesn't connect. Just gets out of range for the Furnace, for the Fire Spirit splash there, and a nice poison here. Gets extra chip damage. Furnace is done. That means no extra pressure coming in. And he just has to really be careful for a lightning, in my opinion. That's the only thing that could really turn this game around.
High poison here. Second Mega Knight down. Archer Queen still alive. Golden Knight changes that story. Magic Archer does get taken off by lightning, but the P.E.K.K.A. to control the Mega Knight as we go into the final 26.
Yeah, and a nice E-Wiz here just to make sure that there was no damage coming in. This is going to take out the Mother Witch, and the Archer Queen needs to go invisible way earlier than he wanted to.
Mega Knight left-hand side, won't be able to penetrate in. That's going to be a GG, well played. The defensive lightning has to come out to prevent the Ram Rider, and that's going to be Wallace playing a clean Saturday of Clash Royale. He's guaranteed a spot in our top 2. He will be in our grand final. Lucas dropping down to the elimination gauntlet tomorrow. Great play here by Wallace, and maybe Lucas just playing a little bit too much Clash Royale this weekend.
Yeah, Overlord. Overload. Sorry, not Overlord. Overload completely. It is a lot of Clash to play in a row. If you play this amount throughout the day, it's fine. But it gets to the point where, you know, Wallace is just more fresh. He was sitting there with a water bottle, laying back, watching Lucas play. While Lucas was in a very, from what it seemed, I didn't watch it, I don't know, a very close match with Pandora. Yeah. It wasn't a walkthrough match. So it does take a toll on you, but at the same time, not taking anything away from Wallace, he played great.
Yeah, he played very well indeed. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket as it stands now at the end of our first day of gameplay. You can see Wallace will await the champion, the champion of the lower bracket, and Lucas, of course, gets that really nice advantage, guaranteed top 3. So we'll kick off tomorrow with Legolas and Goku, followed by Ian and Magma. Those winners will go on to face Mohammed Light and Werro. And then, of course, we will get a lower bracket champion to go up and compete against Lucas for a spot in the grand final. The winner there will face off against Wallace for the Royale Masters, the first Royale Masters Clash Royale Championship, and the $5,000 grand prize. So what a fun day it's going to be tomorrow. Today was wild, and that's without the pressure of elimination for any of these players. Eric, tomorrow's going to be even crazier.
Yeah, I can't imagine tomorrow when we get into those. The first round will be the more like, you know, calm. Let's see what happens. I think everyone has confidence against who they're playing with. And then when you start playing the big players in that second round of elimination, the Mo and Werro, and then you move on and you have the 2 winners of that, that's where like pressure starts mounting more and more. It's going to be a fun day. I love elimination day. I love it.
It's going to be so much fun. So if you haven't already, if you're watching on Twitch, go ahead, throw a follow here to Royale Masters and turn on that bell on the bottom right so you make sure you don't miss a moment. And of course, you can, if you're on YouTube, do the same thing. Throw a subscribe and ring that bell for notifications. We are back here tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central Time. That's 10 a.m. or that's 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern in the U.S., and sometime in the late afternoon or early evening if you're watching Europe, 7 p.m. UTC for those of you who follow UTC as your time. And of course, you can follow Royale Masters, bottom of the screen right there, at Royale Masters on all different social medias. Command Discord in the chat to get a chance to compete in the future. And of course, myself at Rich Slayton, Eric at EB7. Eric, is it Wallace carrying the day tomorrow? Predictions right now.
Yeah, Wallace wins everything. Wallace wins Worlds, Masters. You know, like I'm getting my Wallace tattoo tomorrow before before the tournament goes live.
Wallace wins Powerball, maybe a 10K race as well. Wallace, go out and take it all, and we'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Don't miss a thing. That's it for today. We'll see you for our championship right here. As always, be excellent to each other.